update to stay safe between Hutch's live reports, the Hutch's Weather app is your best way to stay alert. Grab it now and never be caught off guard by the changing weather.
All right, everybody, meteorologist Hutch Johnson joining you. We're in the middle of a winter storm as it's working its way through the Dakotas. It's left a dump in Montana. And coming up, this storm is still tracking through, asking questions you are on my pages. I've got answers right now, but it's a two-way street here, and it's one of the beauties of Hutch's Weather. I get a chance to visit with you back and forth, so if you have questions, drop them, and here in a bit, I will get to those. Now, we're going to talk a little bit about what's going on right now after a minute, but we're going to go over the hour-by-hour forecast. When will it start snowing? Is this a dry slot? Are we going to get any snow at all? Well, I can tell you what, we're seeing the trends with this. I've got the latest model data for you, and I'll give you some reasons why I think we're still in for some mighty big snow. Chase says looking for some more fooey potatoes. Well, I've got my coffee, I've got my Hutch's Weather app, and I'm ready to roll. If you're new to the station, welcome. My name is Hutch Johnson, and for the better part of the last 30 years, I've been covering storms like this here in the upper Midwest and Northern Plains, from Montana straight through the Dakotas into Minnesota and off into parts of Iowa, Missouri, and even covering weather in parts of Wisconsin. I got to tell you what, we do have a winter weather event taking place now. Snowflakes are just now beginning to fly outside my window. Oh, this way. Yeah, there it is. And it's nothing to be worried about yet. As we talked yesterday, the snowfall is going to be increasing as we go through. Let's get right to the look at the forecast and what's going on quickly on the radar full screen. Out in Montana, we got a lot of snowfall reports in and around those mountains south of Billings and in the Sheridan area here. 5.5 inches in the city of Sheridan, and then as you go up into the hills outside of town, we're talking 11 inches of snow out there. Now, out near Broadus, as you go through the mountains and the Wyoming hills, if you've ever been through those narrow byways and highways, 5.9 there at Sale. And then as we go up a little bit farther to the north, 4.5 inches reported there. Near Hardin, we had 6.1 inches just south of the Billings area where Hutch went to high school at Billings West High School for a little while as a young lad. All right, temperatures out here are freezing, and we do have some snow there. Now, snow did hit the Rapid City area. We have reports here between 6 and 10 inches of snow already. Still some snowflakes falling. We did not see a lot of snow right here along the Montana, North Dakota border, but this is in what we call radar no man's land. The closest radars are in Glasgow and Billings and Bismarck. So in this area, it's kind of hard to see snowflakes flying out there as we go through. But I will go over some snowfall reports. We're seeing the heaviest band of snow right now from Bismarck, points north and south, all the way through Emmons County. For you folks in the Ashley, Napoleon area, we're seeing some snow showers making its way up into northern Stutzman County right now. And rain on the warm side of the system out ahead of it showing up on the radar out here. And as we take a look, we got this dry slot going on right now down to the south. It was not like that. We had a band of snow making its way up to the north, but here's what's going on. Now we're going to go right to the forecast models on this. David, good to have you. Chase, good to have you. Thanks for joining me. Frozen salsa. I love my salsa. Me and Pedro, we enjoy a good salsa once in a while. Okay, well, I got to tell you what, as we go into Holy Week, there's a lot of folks with travel plans here as we head into Easter Sunday. On this Good Friday, we have some no travel advisories to go over. We're going to go over road reports, radar, but I want to start first with a look at the forecast. And to do that, I'm going to pull up this, well, model guidance right here. It says model guidance twice. I don't think I need that. There we go. I had to check my glasses. All right, let's get through this and let's go over what's going on with your forecast first here on Hutch's Weather. Two things to keep in mind. Number one, as you take a look at the big picture, snow winds all through much of the overnight hours into the early half of the day and then zips through the region. Severe weather breaking out in parts of Missouri, tornado warnings there, and that's going to be moving through as well. So it's a big system. Let me slow this down for you, and I'll tell you when things are ending. We'll end from west to east. So let's go through that first. Where is the snow? When does it start in your area? Right now, Bismarck, all the way south towards Pierre, we have snow in this zone, and it's heavy, and it's been here for the better part of the day. And then this model doing a fairly good job right now showing the bite taken out of the storm with the rain showers pushing through the Twin Cities, Rochester, and some thunder and lightning working its way into Wisconsin and Iowa right now. Okay, so Fargo, we're starting to see some flakes. Do not be disappointed if you're looking for big snow early this evening, because I don't think we're going to see too much between now and 7 or 8 o'clock. Notice just a little bit of snow on the model here, but things start lightening lighten up like a Christmas tree as we cross through 5 and go to 9. Heaviest bands of snow, and this isn't really heavy snow yet, but do you see this white? Wherever you see that grayish white on this particular model and map and color table, near the Scranton area, Center, Oliver County, Mercer County, you folks can expect to see the potential for the development of the heavy bands of snow. There are some dynamics going on, and I'm going to go over all this because it's fun to talk about, but in the upper levels of the atmosphere, things are really going to start to evolve now as we go into the evening hours, and we are going to see some amazing snowfall rates across our region. And yes, if you're in the Lake Sakakawea area, the Missouri River Valley, it's going to snow heavily now between now and about 5 to 10 o'clock as this system works its way through. Now, this model says it's all but over in and around areas like Webo and Beach, and we'll show you on the visual eyeballs across the region what's going on here. But look at this, an area of icing once again. So as we go through the evening hours, travel gets more difficult. If you happen to be in the Red River Valley or western Minnesota, you can get around this evening. But I would suggest that if you are in the Red River Valley, including the eastern portions of South Dakota and western and northern Minnesota, get your running around done this Good Friday evening and be where you want to be between, say, 7 and 11 o'clock tonight. I think Fargo starts seeing things light up after 10 o'clock with heavier bands of snow. We're going to have some light flakes, snow globe style, and then it's on. Let me show you what I mean. So as you take a look at the clock, here's 5 p.m., and now let's continue this in motion. Now, as we move through the night, do you see the heavier bands of snow? A couple waves here and there, but it really is still heavy snowing in central parts of the Dakotas. From Pierre and Rapid City, the snow continues to pile up through the 10 o'clock hour. Now the snow is reaching the Highway 200 corridor. For you folks in the Mackville area, you're going to have a chance of snow in Mayville, Cooperstown, Findlay, Larimore, as well as Lakota and Michigan City, Devil's Lake as well. So this batch will just begin as we head into the 9 o'clock hour. Not real heavy yet, and you're not going to be getting dumped on. So just keep in mind, this isn't going to be like a blizzard style system throughout the event. It's just going to be a pounding snow, and then overnight it really gets bad. Here's what's happening. Heavy rain moves into southern parts of Minnesota. Now there's a big dry slot here right now, but I'll show you why it's going to fill in here, in my opinion, as we go through the evening hours. Now, as we go through, here's 10 o'clock. Look at Fargo, Hillsboro, Fergus Falls, Pelican Rapids, as you go out towards the Cormorant Lakes area, Pelican Lake, Ottertail Lake, and all the way down through Lake Traverse down here into Big Stone County. We're going to see that area of ice popping through the St. Cloud area. So this is 10 o'clock. Driving on the interstate with ice and sleet is a no fun proposition, but it's going to be a possibility tonight with some rapid accumulations. We have just flat out rain in the Twin Cities expected with this system as it works its way in. So I'll move the mouse down here, Cedar Rapids all the way up towards Rochester, Minneapolis, getting soaked, gully washed with some rain showers as we go through the day, the nighttime hours. So it stays warm enough for rain there, and we'll have a narrow band of icing into northern Wisconsin. And what's going to happen now from northern Wisconsin, where you have the ice storm with the first storm system of the month that moved through and killed power in places near Green Bay, we're going to have a big time ice storm potential as this lifts north and on into the UP of Michigan here, and we're going to see northern Wisconsin with a chance for some potential for some icing with this system. So certainly in the Red River Valley, Hutch suggests that you be where you want to be and settle down, and it's going to be tough to even get out and move about as we go through the overnight hours. Watch what happens. Look at the heavy snow. Grand Forks, you're in on this particular model run. Grand Forks to Fargo with that band of heavy snow that lasts from about 10 o'clock at night through 2 a.m. And these snowfall rates here where we're seeing this could be over an inch per hour. So we're talking 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 4 or 5 inches of snow could have fallen even in this part of the overnight hours if you do indeed get that heavy band. Wherever this sets up, we're going to get that really shellacking of snow. And you could just see wave, 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 wave of snow that's a little bit heavier. That's the darker blues going through there. So there will be bands of heavy snow in parts of Minnesota, the Arrowhead, all the way along the Highway 2 corridor from Polk County right through the Bemidji area on through that Walker, Grand Rapids region, and all the way out towards Ely as we go through the overnight. Look at the ice now. This is 9 a.m. It's spitting icicles out there like a mad snowman as we go into the morning of your Saturday here from Marquette through Sault Ste. Marie. And look at northern Wisconsin. There's your Apostle Islands all along the south shore of Lake Superior, right down to areas not far from Green Bay. Once again, accumulating ice upwards of a half of an inch will be possible there. Meanwhile, here in Fargo, Moorhead, and Grand Forks, we're still snowing. It's all but done in Bismarck. And for you, most of your Saturday will be fairly pleasant. It does look like a cool day. You will have time through most of the day to see our road crews get caught up and roads to be improved upon throughout the day. But here in the valley, we start the day off with some mighty snowy conditions. Now, as we continue through the day, I'm sure you want to see Lake of the Woods, so I do not want to forget that. Why don't we just, well, let's not do that. Let's go pull it down here. So now we start seeing the ice and rain leave Minneapolis and southern Minnesota, and this is now a wind from the east and north, and it's going to start bringing some cold air and snow back down into the Twin Cities. So anywhere from the Twin Cities and St. Cloud northward, we're going to have some bands of snow. It'll still be heavy at times from Aberdeen and the Sisseton Hills through Fargo, Moorhead, and Grand Forks at noon. But watch how quickly things dry up. Once our wind direction becomes northerly, it's going to undercut and dry down out the lower part of the system, and we'll start seeing the heavier precipitation advance off to the east. Now, that's a look at this storm system as we go through the 8 p.m. hour. It's still snowing now as we look across Lake Superior, northern Wisconsin, and the Arrowhead of Minnesota, all the way until your Saturday night and Easter Sunday, in the very wee hours of the morning. This system will rock into parts of the Mitten of Michigan with heavy bands of snow, and with that north wind across the Great Lakes here, you can see that we'll have some bands of those lake effect style snows impacting. Then we get a wave or a burp of cool air that brings down another little cool front as it works through. That is a look at what's going on with the timing. Now let's see how it piles up on your roads. Thank you. I know I'm not answering or addressing your questions right now, but I do have an agenda I'm going to get through, and I am going to be here covering the weather for you all night long. I'm going to have my stream up all night long, and I will take a break, make a graphic, update some information, come back to you with information, but I will send you notifications on Hutch's Weather app. So if you do not have my app yet, please take a moment after this broadcast and search Hutch's Weather in your app store today. I'll send notifications on when I am going live with my next update. It'll be frequently tonight as we go through the event. Now let's look at snowfall accumulation on this particular model. By the way, the model that I'm using is called the HRRR. In all honesty, it has not been my favorite model over the last couple of times, but most of the models are agreeing on the track with this system with some nuances from model to model. The bottom line is you're going to see this system as it works its way through, and I'll put play on this. This is snow accumulation. So you can see it's been building up out west throughout the day. And now as we go through the remainder of the day, there's been a lot more snow out in Montana, but the model just started here this evening, and now we're carrying it through. This is where it's going, not where it's been. So now we're going to see continued accumulation in western parts of the Dakotas, but really that heavy enhanced snowfall rate that I was speaking of takes hold, and we'll have heavy snow from southeast North Dakota through the Red River Valley and on up into parts of northeast Minnesota, Thunder Bay. Notice there are going to be some places that get missed. And even along this band of heavier snow, as I zoom into the model here, you're going to notice that we're going to have little dry pockets here and there. Because remember I showed you wave or banding after banding? A lot of times these bands will set up and they'll stay in one place for quite a while. It's kind of like the band that set up in northwest Minnesota overnight last night and brought quite a bit of snow to you folks in Thief River Falls. You know what I'm talking about? about? I know what I'm talking about. Do you know what I'm talking about? I'm talking about this. I just got a photo from you. Thank you so much for taking the time to upload these, but I got to tell you what, this is Thief River Falls, Brian, 8 solid inches of snow up there in Thief River Falls. That band set up and was fairly relentless. And if you can't beat the snow, and Hutch says it might be a snow day, then it looks like you might as well have a little bit of fun. Thanks, Jill. This is just absolutely fantastic in Boston. Thanks for having a little fun. Now right back to your weather and forecast data here. We're going right back to this snowfall forecast. Yeehaw! Thanks. I hear stars coming. Make sure that you hit the like button on these videos if you get a chance. And if you're just joining me, you haven't missed much. I'm being very thorough in my description of the track of the storm, the fact that it is coming to Fargo, the fact that it is coming to Grand Forks. I'm going over the snowfall forecast right now. And if you have not done so yet, please hit the subscribe button on my YouTube channel. Now let's get right back to a look at this model data, shall we? Where did I put that at? I know it's here somewhere. There it is. There. Okay, sorry. Now, this is a track of the heavier band of snow in eastern South Dakota and in eastern North Dakota and working its way through Lakes Country. Notice we said last night, if you get down south of Otter Tail County, so Grant County, Douglas County, you're going down in this general direction. So you got Wadena and Todd counties as well. Those areas, we're going to see a rapid decrease in the snowfall amounts. And even though this looks like everybody's getting pink here, everybody's getting purple, this looks like nice Easter colors here on Saturday, I got to tell you what, not every location is going to get this. It's why I don't throw out a specific number for an individual community for a reason, because you can go from Detroit Lakes, okay, and then head out to Audubon, and in that short distance, you could see some places getting 8 inches of snow and the neighbors only getting 4. It's that different. It just depends on where the banding sets up with the radar. And there will be waves and there will be lulls. And that's going to happen with any system. So even though a model looks like this, and you hear Hutch say a forecast, that's why I use a range of numbers of, in this case, yesterday I used from 7 to 14 plus inches. So what do these numbers mean? Let me stop this from brewing around the clock. And now we're going to take a look at some areas and this particular model's insight into the snowfall forecast. So I got to get out my little crosshairs here, and wherever the center of those crosshairs are, that's a look at the snowfall that the model is predicting. So let's go south to north, and let's start out here for our friends in Bismarck Dickinson. Now, this is in addition to the snow you've gotten already, but if you're in the South Hart area to Dickinson, another 1 to 2 inches is picked up by this model. You get out towards Glen Ullin here on Interstate 94, 3.5 to 4 inches for you. You get over here to New Salem, Sioux. I'm sorry, New Salem, Sioux. It is utterly ridiculous, the amount of snow we're getting into the month of April here. 3.7 more inches for you. But look at Morton County as we zoom into Bismarck. Mandan, your area is going to get another 3 to 4 inches of snow. Center, Stanton, another 3 to 4 inches of snow. Remember, there's that heavy banding that could start setting up over you. Look at this, Grant County, Carson, and on the Cannonball River down here, we're talking 5+ inches of snow for some of you yet. In South Dakota from Timber Lake and the Mobridge area, I'm expecting snowfall amounts of 3 to 5 inches of snow there. And on top of what's already been heavy snow, right here just off to the east of Rapid City, I'll show you a little later, we did already have reports from earlier this morning of 8 inches of snow, and it's still snowing. So another couple inches on top of the insult to injury right there, and that's going to continue. Now let's get into the central Dakotas. From Bismarck and through Kidder County, I'm not kidding, if you happen to be down here in Napoleon, it looks like a solid 8-incher or 9-incher in some spots. So yes, we could have some spots that get lower than this, but that's the potential for the system, and that's what this model expects. And in Hutch's range, it fits. 7 to 14 is what I said, and I do believe that I'm going to stick to it. You get into the Harriet, South Dakota area, Leola, Eureka. It looks like Ashley. You're going to see some heavy snow on top of the amounts of snow that you got from the round on the first April system of another 5 to 7 inches of snow. Ellendale, Oaks, same thing for you. And here we go. As we sneak down into South Dakota here, let's go to Britain. 7 inches for you. You get anywhere near these Sisseton Hills here, this is that edge of old Lake Agassiz right here. And that terrain is the hill that this old Great Lake used to sit up against right here. And that is called, well, terrain lifting. So the winds that come out of the north or out of the east rise up this terrain, and then on the eastern side of that terrain, I know it's just a little hill, it's not huge like a mountain in Colorado, but we usually see some enhancement by that area, and it also channels some pretty serious winds. You know what I'm talking about, Sisseton, don't you? So those areas could see a solid foot of snow in a few areas there. Lisbon, Gwinner, your area is going to see that 7 to 9 inch total. Jamestown, Valley City, same thing, 6-7 inches. Highway 200, Griggs, Steele, Trail County. So Coop, it looks like a 4-inch event for you and New Rockford. How about 1.6 inches? Look how quickly. Remember on Hutch's graphic, I had a 1 to 6 inches over just a short distance. There's your 1 inch right there in Devil's Lake. And by the time you go to New Rockford, we're approaching that 5 to 6 inch category. So a quick ramp up and a quick ramp down to zilch. Okay, Grand Forks on this particular model, it has it on the lower end. I'm not so sure. We might not see a little bit more for you. I'll show you why in just a second. But now as we go through, we do see Fargo Moorhead and the Glendon, Dilworth, Holly area picking up a good chance at that 6 to 9 inches of snow, or in that 7 to 14 window. This one shows, hey, we might be on the lower end of that. Look just outside of town here, though. This model is picking up on some pretty healthy snowfall totals of 8 or so inches of snow. Bagley, we're looking at about a 7 or 8 inch total here. Now, don't lock Hutch into these. I'm showing you what this model shows, and then I'm going to give you a couple of reasons why we can see such differences north to south, east to west, or even across town here in just a minute. Grand Rapids, you folks can expect upwards of 5 to 7 inches of snow. Brainerd Lakes area and north towards Nisswa does look like a 5 to 7 inch, and then a rapid drop off. Well, we're still at Little Falls here, and we got 5 inches. So if you're going down Highway 371 there, a solid, sticky, slushy mess. And then St. Cloud looks like the cutoff point with this particular system as it works its way through. So that's what I am seeing there. Let me see if I can get the clock back on here for us. Oh, I can't while I've got my little pointer out here looking at numbers. The North Shore, another 5-7 inches of snow there, but look at this. Virginia, Ely, Grand Rapids on up towards Hibbing, Aitkin, and Bemidji. We're looking at some pretty good snowfall totals there, upwards of 7 to 10 inches. So this model here in the pink color is generally fixated on 6 to maybe 10 inches of snow across this area here when Hutch was putting 14 plus. Here's the thing. Temperatures in the atmosphere play a huge role to how much snow we get, and it's called the liquid to water ratio. So we can have liquid amounts of 1 inch of liquid equivalent moisture, but in a typical winter event, we usually see 10 inches of snow, or about a foot of snow for 1 inch of liquid moisture. Okay, so that tells you, now this system does have upwards of 1 inch of liquid moisture to work with it, or more in some spots. And because of that, if we get into some colder air, even up north, like Grand Forks, the snowflakes can be fluffier and they pile up a little better. So what happened in Thief River last night was a very heavy, wet snow, but not quite as heavy and wet and slushy as what we saw in St. Cloud. I hope that makes sense. But so even across our area, we're going to see some really critical changes in temperature throughout the depth of our atmosphere. And it's those average temperatures from the cloud to the ground that dictate how deep that snow can get, how quickly, and whether you're going to see 18 inches per inch of liquid moisture or only 4 or 5 inches per 1 inch of liquid moisture. Okay, that's enough of that. Now let's go ahead and take a look at Hutch's graphics I've got lined up for us with our forecast here. And let's see if I've got one here. Okay, so this is the storm total for round 2 by Friday, April 3rd at 7 p.m. Notice I have nothing for Grand Forks and Fargo yet. This was made the other day, and I do kind of stick with it. 5 to 10 inches in this little window here has panned out already. We have already hit 8 inches just outside of Rapid City. Also note this, Rapid City and just outside of town here on I-90, we have reports of 8 inches. So this has shifted south just a little bit with that heavier band of snow. Nonetheless, we do have some significant reports of snow across the North Dakota, South Dakota border, and out in Montana, we've gotten reports of up to around 15 inches of snow. So the model panned out and is showing that this is where the snowfall will be by tonight, meaning you can go get your milk and bread and cookies and whatever else you need, maybe eggs, right, for Easter celebration. And then as you look across Minnesota, we don't have much in the way of that, but the ice could be an issue overnight tonight and into your Saturday morning. It looks like down here in eastern South Dakota, we already had some ice earlier in the day. And now as we go through the overnight hours, we could get a little bit more icing taking place. But where it's really going to be a problem, 1/10 to about 1/2 of an inch of ice in northern Wisconsin, extreme east central Minnesota, and the UP of Michigan, where we have ice storm warnings in effect. We'll go over those momentarily. Now, here is the snow total for this storm system by the time we get to 7 a.m. tomorrow. So in the morning, this particular model that I chose is one of those, and I chose it for a reason, because it's starting to show on this high resolution model some areas with a bite taken out of the storm. Remember, we still see snow all the way from 7 a.m. to around noon to 1 o'clock in the afternoon, so we're not done there yet. But I just wanted to point out that I'm not saying Fargo is going to be in this dry slot at all, but it's the fact that there's going to be some of these with this system. It could be here, it could be here. We'll have some areas that get waves move over them without delivering much in the way of snow. 5 to 10 inches, pretty solid, mainly south of Interstate 94, and along the border here, we'll see the higher amounts. But the 5 to 10 inch or the 7 to 14 plus does seem to be on track. So instead of 14 plus, I have lowered it to about 10 plus. But we still have a few models that are showing that magnitude of snow. Now, what happens as we go through the rest of our Saturday? If you happen to be in Lakes Country, by the way, this is Fergus Falls, all of Becker County, much of Otter Tail County. You get into Mahnomen County here, Norman County, up into Beltrami County, decent amounts of snow. And you know what? 4 inches to 6 inches of snow is nothing to sneeze about in these other locations. And I have this whopping 1 to 5 plus in here because we're going to see 5 or 6 inches of snow in some places next to 1 or 2 inches of snow. And things will just be really getting started up in parts of the Arrowhead of Minnesota as we go into your Saturday morning. Storm total amounts here. Let's go with that. Okay, we'll go with that. Why not, Hutch? Where did number 3 go? Is that right here? Storm total ending Saturday night at 7 o'clock. There could still be a little bit of snow remnant across northern parts of the UP here, as well as up towards Thunder Bay. But by the time we get to your Saturday night, the snow will be done in Fargo. And this model does have a solid 5 to 10 inch band in between my green lines that I drew here, and then a rapid drop to near nothing, rapidly going from 5 inches straight down to an inch or less as we go up into the Highway 11 corridor and the Highway 5 corridor in North Dakota. So that's where we're going to see lower snow amounts. Now, there's going to be a significant amount of rain and slush in Watertown, so we'll also likely see some areas getting 1 to 3 inches of slush on the roads in Watertown, moving off into the east. And as we go into the Morris-Benson area, you're going to be more slushy than your neighbors just to the north. So if you draw a line through, say, Grant County, Traverse County, or maybe even Big Stone County here off to the east, that's going to be that area where things really ramp down. Here's Brainerd. You're right on the edge, but you're on the healthy side of the snow the way it looks right now. I think Brainerd, I think Walker, I think Grand Rapids, all will have a fair amount of snow by the time we're done. And you can see that even though it didn't look that great for snowfall in the Arrowhead of Minnesota early in the morning, it does make its way up. Now, this one shows Baudette, War Road, those areas getting a little bit less. We could get some moisture because those winds come from the east that does slop up your way. But once our wind becomes northerly with this system, as we go into Saturday mid-morning, our wind turns and becomes sharp northerly. As that happens, usually the surface air from Canada will be significantly drier, and that will literally limit the northern extent to the system. So that is a look at that. Now, I am going to address a couple of questions that you have about this. And then coming up, we're going to look at some really cool meteorology that I have planned to show you, that even though we have a dry slot over us right now in the Fargo area and points south, how that can change and why it can change, and why do I think we'll still get some snow? Because I get a lot of questions, and if you see a dry spot on the radar, it doesn't always mean that we're done. So I just want to let you know, that even though this I-29 corridor is good now, take advantage of it. Get your traveling done, get to where you want to be. There are a couple of snowfall reports out here to get to too. So let me do that before we go hop, skipping, and jumping across your questions, because I can't wait. Look at the red dots here. Red dots are obviously much more snow. We really needed snow in the mountains of Colorado, and they got it in a big way with some areas here as we zoom in on this map that picked up upwards of 10 to 24 inches of snow. Unbelievable amounts of snow there in the mountains of Colorado. And in the mountains of north central Wyoming, Sheridan, so you go in here and you get down into these areas of the Bighorn Mountains, 23 inches of snow here as we look in this area, 27 to 30 inches of snow. This is at Burgess Junction out here, 30 inches of snow right there. That's a lot of snow. Now you get down just a little bit into the highway corridor, interstate corridor, 12 inches in Dalton, Wyoming, as you look out here. So you got some big time winning snowfall amounts there. If you're driving semi, that's something you'd want to know. We got solid, heavy snow here as you look on the interstate corridor here. Up Interstate 90, moving up to the north through Sheridan. 5.7 in town in Sheridan is what we're talking about. 12.8 just outside of Billings as we go out here into the Cherokee reservation. It is Lame Deer with 13 inches of snow, so just over a foot there. A big time amount of snow just north of Lewistown up here, as well as we take a look in the mountains of Montana. In South Dakota, this is where our storm is coming from. And let's go ahead and sneak over towards South Dakota. My apologies. Did they just disappear? They did. Okay, there they are. All right, so here's Rapid City, and we have numerous reports of 6 and 8 inches of snow, 7 inches of snow. And if you look at the times that these were reported, some of these were from much earlier today. This was from 1:48 this afternoon. The 6-inch report was from about 8 a.m. So some of these places are likely got a lot more totals, and we usually get measurements in from them from the Weather Service somewhere between 6 and 10 o'clock as people call them into the National Weather Service office, or people like Hutch here, and then we pass that along to the Weather Service, and it ends up on maps like this. So you can see here we have anywhere from 8 inches or more in these areas. You get right on the North Dakota border. Here's 6 inches in Lemon, South Dakota reported. 2 out here as you go out just south of Dickinson, at the Sheffield area here. And then as we go south of Glendive in Ismay, my grandpa was from Ismay, 3 inches of snow. Ulmer picking up 3.5 inches of snow. This is what fell this morning, overnight last night and into the morning hours. And here's where Thief River Falls, got shellacked with 8 inches of snow, 7.1 in Mavie. Looking down south here, 6 inches in Mahnomen, 6 inches in Ada. So that nighttime snow really added up. Look at Crookston picking up 5.5 inches overnight. And there was a pretty sharp cutoff as we went into the Grand Forks area, but they did end up with 4.5 inches of that wet, heavy sludge there as well. 5.9 in Grigla, 7.1 in Maybe, I think I got that one already, 7.5 inches in Peposki, and that's Peposkerous. 6 inches of snow in Williams, 6 inches of snow in Baudette. And then as we look into Fonts, I should say, not France, we're 6 inches. This was 11 miles to the west of that area. So a solid area here where we got about 6 inches of snow right across the Brainerd Lakes area out towards Mille Lacs, and then heading north of Mille Lacs actually. And then as we head into Duluth, we did get some 8-inch reports up on the North Shore. I don't see a lot of reports that came in off the North Shore that were much more than 8 inches. Here's a 7.9 in the Fairfield area, Finland area. My apologies. I'm having troubles with my bifocals here adjusting to the reading. So that is a look at the snowfall total so far. Now your questions. Thanks so very much for joining me. Let's see what we got here. Okay, starting on the YouTube side here real quickly. Frozen Salsa is here. Kay is here rocking my Hutch's Weather sweatshirt today. That's awesome. KJ, thank you very much for your order. And Kim and Carol, I really appreciate your contribution to Hutch's Weather. These are just awesome gifts, and I do use them to continue to build Hutch's Weather across all platforms. So thank you so much. Hello from Wisconsin, Margie. It's good to have you here. Thank you for joining. 92 Merck, gotta like that. Hello from Bismarck. Snow's been falling steady now. And you know what? It does look like it's going to be a long evening, but some of those heavier bands are supposed to be setting up between now and about the 8 to 10 o'clock hour. So it's still you're still gonna be riding the snowboat here for a little while. Lucas, good to have you on board. Got about 4 inches in Fargo yesterday. That's exactly what I had in South Moorhead. Thank you for joining, and good to have you on board, and thanks again for taking time to interview me. I believe it was a fun day. Let's go ahead and take a look at Brandon. It says for some reason that message was retracted. Okay. Deb, good to have you on board. Thanks for watching. I'm looking to see if I have any questions. I need the phone number. What is it? I don't know what phone number it is you're looking for. Minneapolis. That's a unique one. I really like that. Okay, Minneapolis. Hello from Alexandria. Hoping that we're on the lower end of the snowfall totals. Yes, I think you'll be a little lower than your neighbors just to the north of you guys as you go up into Ottertail and Becker County in particular, and then even all the way up towards Bemidji and Paul Bunyan up there might get ankle deep snow. And his ankles are pretty high from the ground. FJ, do you think there will be road closures after dark? I'll say this. In North Dakota, and then we'll go check out some comments on the Facebook page. Thanks, everybody, for checking in here. I see so many stars. North Dakota, sometimes during a windy event, will pull the plows off the road because it's just not safe for the plows to be out there any more than it is for you. And then they hit the drifts early, pre-dawn, and get things cleared out that way. So it's more common on the North Dakota side to see that happen. Will it happen? I'm not certain. I do know that we have some no travel alerts in parts of South Dakota right now. Frozen Salsa, Hutch, what's your favorite type of cloud? It'd have to be a cumulonimbus cloud, just because I've always been amazed with thunder and lightning and all things frightening from thunderstorms. And it's really what got me interested in learning. How can we have so much rain, or how can hail get so big? And it's been driving me ever since to do what I do today. And I'm just a lucky fart for being able to stand up here and earn your trust by covering your weather the best I know how. And I appreciate you all very much. Terry, good to see you, my friend. And thank you so very much for everything you do for me every time we run into each other. You know what I mean. And thank you so much. Chris, thank you for the stars. Terry, thank you for the stars. Brenda, thank you for joining. And thank you for the stars. Deborah, Mark, thank you for the stars. Will this help the drought areas? Yes. The last storm and this storm will definitely help the drought that was starting to take root in parts of Minnesota, no question. And I'll show you right now what the drought was just updated yesterday. So let's take a look at that drought index here together. See, this is why I love your questions, because you think them up, and there's so many things that I can show you. So why don't we go to this? Here's the drought monitor, and this is North Dakota. Very little until you get to the Fargo Moorhead area. We got just a little blip of the yellow there, which would mean abnormally dry, but not really drought conditions. Minnesota, however, as we take a look, the orange here is some pretty consistent and persistent drought that's taking place. So we're talking about that Cloquet area and areas just south of Duluth here. And then any of this brown is a moderate drought that's taking place in those areas of Minnesota. So keep that in mind. That's something that with the track of this storm system and the last storm system that laid abundant moisture in these areas. But yesterday's storm system that was just wrapping up was not included in this update. So I would expect improvement on the drought in Minnesota here and here. Okay, it might not erase all of the drought, but we should see a step down in some of the categories out there. So great question, Brenda. Thanks for asking. Let's check your drought in let's see, Montana as well. Great Falls was really ripping dry. Look at this. It stays that way. There's a lot of extreme and very intense drought going on across north central Montana from Helena and basically out to the north and east of Billings in the Rockies there. So we could certainly use the moisture. They did get some with this system. And down here, you saw some of the snowfall totals that took place in the Bighorns. And that I think will go a long way towards helping that. In eastern Montana, we're getting some wet weather throughout the day today, and that should help this area as well. I think that covers the drought. Thank you very much. Kettle River, Aiken, it's dry. Spit and rain now west of Duluth. Good to know, Brian. Thank you for that. And again, definitely could use some moisture on a lot of the fields as we go into the planting season here, if it ever decides to stop snowing. Danelle, thanks for the update. Downloaded the app. I love it. Great job. Thank you for doing that. And that's a good segue or segue into Hutch's weather app here, because whether you're using my app or my website, I pulled the website up here just to let you know, if you go to hutchesweather.com when I sign off here later, you can go ahead and download the app right from my website. So use this on your phone to go to hutchesweather.com, and up at the top, you're going to see a download the app button. There are links there right to the Apple Store or the Android Store, so you can get the app on your device. And you know what? If you have the app, did you get the notification that I was going live? I'm going to keep sending notifications about my next live when I come on. I'm going to leave my stream up all night, but I will take a break to get my coffee cup refilled, and I'll take a little break to eat and make graphics and update forecasts and continue the work that I need to do. Meanwhile, I'll send an app notification to you that says, knock, knock. Hutch is here. I've got an update on why this upper level system is going to become so dynamic, and I expect the snow to fill in. So thank you for the feedback, Danelle. You can get that app right here. And from the app, you can check road conditions for all states in our region, from Wisconsin and Iowa all the way out to Montana to Colorado, the Dakotas, of course, included, for free. We also have all the details that you need in our provincial neighbors in Canada for, let's see, that would be Manitoba and Saskatchewan. All right, let's see. Brenda, thank you. Nothing, not much. There's going to be a little bit of rain moving into your area right now. But other than that, that's about it. There could be a little bit of snow, but nothing substantial. You're going to be in that sharp ramp down from around the area near Lake Sakakawea as you go north of Garrison and on up towards Max. That's going to be in that 5 to 1. You'd probably be closer to 5 as you're going over the bridge, and then you get up north there just a little bit, and you'll get down to an inch of heavy wet slush. So less shovel trouble for you. See what the cup says? You can order this on Hutch's website today by hitting the shop button right there, by the way. Thank you very much, and it's another way to support Hutch's Weather. Okay, let's see here. It's pretty quiet in Breckenridge. It's quiet in Fargo. We had a couple flakes briefly start, but we're on that dry spot right now, and I'll go ahead and show you the big radar here. And then Hutch is going to take that break here after a bit, but I am answering questions right now. Let's see, why can't I find the radar? I think it's up here. Okay, there we go. So as we look around, we got some snowfall reports that have come in, and we talked about a few of those. This shows rainfall out here. Let's go over these road reports as well, but that heavy band of snow has been sitting here the whole time from Steele, just north of the Lisbon area as you go in towards Hazleton here, and up north and towards the Woodworth area and Kinsel up here in northern Stutsman County, just south of Carrington. It does look like we got some pretty decent snow going on there. Now let's take a look at those DOT cams, because I'm going to start with South Dakota, where it's been snowing for the better part of the day. I want to let you know that if you have thoughts of traveling where you see the candy canes up here in parts of South Dakota right here, those roads, no travel advisory in effect at this particular juncture, so keep that in mind. Now this is what it looks like in these areas, by the way, and there's white on here, and white means scattered snow and slush being reported in and around the Mobridge zone. Let's go right up here to the no travel advisory area and see what we could see. You can see a very heavy, wet snow. As I try to move this around, it's just really heavy. You can see that there are several inches of snow, maybe 6 inches of just wet, slushy snow on the roadside there. That's by McLaughlin, South Dakota. Now, as you go out towards Lemon, we saw the report there of a good 8 inches of snow, and it's looking pretty snowy there, and it's still snowing in Lemon, South Dakota. So no travel is advised on those candy cane roads as we go through the evening hours. That's from the Mobridge zone all the way on towards Lemon, South Dakota through McIntosh. Now, there were some 8-inch reports just outside of the Rapid City area and points north. Let's see what this road looks like up here. Yep, we got definitely some snow on the road surface out here. This is in Billsburg, South Dakota. So that's what's going on in South Dakota, where the snow is continuing, but it's really moving up through here. Now, we got a break in South Dakota in Sisseton area. There was a batch of snow that made its way through, and there is some coverage on the highway and byways out there and the trees, but the interstate highway out here, or the highway I should say, not looking too awful bad, as they are doing a great job of keeping up with it. There was some freezing rain, though, in that part of the country in the morning hours today, so keep that in mind. North Dakota, what's this snow band doing out between Bismarck? Okay, so we have no travel, excuse me, not. This is called a travel alert. You can still drive, but just be aware there's going to be very heavy snow continuing to pile up and enough wind to reduce visibility. And at times that snow is going to get fairly heavy, and it will be very difficult to drive in some of the conditions that we're having tonight. The heaviest band of snow not far from the capital city. So as we go out to the east there, just outside in Minokan area, there you go. There's the rest stop at Apple Creek, and that one has shown and is showing a considerable amount of snow that's already taken place there. North on 83, as you're heading up, asking about that area. Here's Washburn, the Burn, looking like we got some snow up there. And then how long does that last before it cuts off? Now the road conditions and colors turn to blue, and that generally means some wet roads. So before you go over the bridge over here, over Lake Sakakawea, let's see if I can pick the camera here. Okay, here we go. We still have some snow that's on the road, but it's certainly not as deep as you go through. And up towards Minot, nope, it's just green. It's seasonal roads up there. So you're on the north side of the system as we go north toward the air base up here. Look at these roads. Big time difference as we take a look across North Dakota. Now, the snow is continuing, and it's actually a little bit heavier on the radar right now as we go down into Kidder County. So I'm going to go out here, and that's not available. Let's go into western Stutzman County. So here's Medina, and look at how thick the slush is on the interstate. They've been running plows through here, you could see, but it's already accumulated quickly behind there, and it's just a slush fest out there in western Stutzman County, Cleveland, Medina, and as you go out of Crystal Springs area, they're definitely problematic. Let's go to northern Emmons County here, and this is Hazleton, and you can just see there that the countryside is turning white again. Oh, feels like, I heard some people talking about, it feels more like Christmas than Easter, but this is a pretty big, wet, heavy system. There's Gackle as we take a look at your area. Now, as we look down into southeast North Dakota, there was a band of snow moving through Richland County. That has since dried up, and things are looking pretty good right now, but I anticipate by the time we get to around that 9 to 10 o'clock hour, things really start lighting up. Hey, thanks, James McNeil. I sure appreciate your gift on Hutch's Weather. Thank you so much. I'm going to remind you, too, please hit the follow button on my Facebook page. These videos go out a lot more to a lot more people if you hit the like buttons. If I interact with you, I'm trying to do the same by answering your questions. Again, I will keep you up to date with everything from road conditions as they happen tonight. I will send out alerts about when I'm coming back on, but generally about 30 minutes in between updates is what I'm going to try to continue on doing tonight, as we should see this thing setting up. And let me explain this other fact to you, and that's the fact that at 7 o'clock tonight, it's not 7 yet, but at 7 o'clock in Bismarck, they released the weather balloon, okay? It takes 1 hour for that puppy to float up through the atmosphere and measure what we need to make these computer models that we use on our broadcasts, whether you're watching them here or there or anywhere. All those models initiate off a starting set of conditions in the atmosphere. That's where we get it. Those old-fashioned weather balloons used since the 30s. So when you're looking at this forecast model, the next model won't start running until about 8 o'clock. By about 9 to maybe close to 10, we'll start getting some of the shorter range models in, these rapid refresh models that update every hour. Those will be in by about 9 to 10 o'clock. So you can count on an update there, and there will be no better information than that until tomorrow at about 8 a.m. when the next model run starts. I do not particularly like model runs that start in between those that start with the weather balloon data. And those happen at 7 a.m. Central Time and 7 p.m. Central Time, twice a day around the entire globe. Meteorologists, people like me, well, not me, that work at the National Weather Service and other agencies worldwide to launch weather balloons to help us get a feel for what's going on. Watching from Bemidji, let it snow, says Gary. I hear you, Gary, and look at this. I'm going to zoom you right in there, see if we can see good old Babe the Blue Ox out there and his good compadre, Paul Bunyan, right? Tell Paul to put the flannel back on. It's that time again, because it's kind of that whiplash weather season. Look at that. This model has a hole right over Bemidji with a lower snow amount in town, but everywhere else it looks great. So call that what you will. It's putting these lower snow amounts over lakes, probably because it's anticipating that the snow will melt into the lake and there won't be as much falling on it. So yeah, that's kind of fun to see on these high resolution models. Sometimes I think they overthink it because I think there's still some ice on them there lakes up in the northern part. So now let's see if there's any other questions as we go through. I do want to let you know I have some really good content for you. We're going to talk upper air patterns and support for these systems that cause the areas of heavy snow. We look for things like temperature in the atmosphere. We look for things like where there's going to be extra lift. And I'm going to show that to you very visually here in just a little bit. But for now, I just hope you have a safe night. And, you know, for those that celebrate the resurrection of my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, then you know, happy Easter to you and your family. If you have to travel tonight, not a good night, late. Tomorrow morning, not a good time, but out in western North Dakota, tomorrow gets better. As you go into your weekend, as we get into Saturday night here in North Dakota on the east side of the state in western Minnesota, Saturday night, we should start to see, well, the snow exiting, a chance for our roads to catch up just a little bit, and our improvement in conditions, depending on exactly how much of this winter goodness that we get. So stick around. I will keep you updated. And right now I'm going to leave you with something I hope you can take time to do with me, and that's visit Norway. Oofta! You haven't heard? Hutch is heading to Norway, and I want you to join me August 16th through the 26th. We fly out to beautiful Oslo, and that's just where the fun begins. We see the mountain country, we see fjord country, and more cities along the way, and it will be one heck of a trip, but it wouldn't be the same without you. Call Brecky Tour and Travel today to reserve your spot.
You're watching Hutch's Weather live. We're taking a quick breather. While Hutch prepares the next data sweep, check in from your neck of the woods in the chat. Let us know what you're seeing out your window. It's how we stay weather aware together. Stick around. Hutch is back in a moment to take your questions and track the latest alerts. Providing live coverage for the thousands of you across the northern plains is a responsibility we don't take lightly. Thank you for trusting Hutch's Weather. Grab a quick refill, take a second to share an update from your neighborhood in the chat. And we'll be right back to continue monitoring these developments together. Your safety is our mission. When storms arise, find any hype here. Just the data, the radar, and the truth. Thank you for trusting Hutch's Weather for your severe weather updates. But Hutch resends the maps. Make sure your notifications are turned on, so you never miss a critical update. We're back real soon to keep monitor of the threat.
All right, everybody, I am back. Let's get right back to it here as we head into now the 6 o'clock hour. What's changed? What's going on? Well, we got a lot to talk about in this update. I wanted to let you know we're going to wax poetic a little bit about meteorology. Model down here in this corner up top's been the radar, and I'm looping through that with a little bit of lovely music for you. And you know what? Some like the music, some don't, but I'm a 80s heavy metal kind of guy, and that's what I have up there for now. So thank you for bearing with me, and it gives me time in these breaks to catch up with the latest data, snowfall reports, your photos, and all of that. So let's get started with a look and review of the forecast. Number one, we're going to go right to the deals on the snowfall forecast to get that right up front and center. First thing to keep in mind, the storm total. It started today, and it's been snowing all day out in western South Dakota and southwest North Dakota. Now, the snowfall amounts out there have already hit the 5 to 8 inch category out there, so we're on our way to the 10 plus out in these areas. Now, notice there's a sharp drop off on the north side of this from 1 to 5 inches. So as you go down through that Lake Sakakawea area and on into the Devil's Lake Basin, there'll be a rapid decrease from this 5 to 10 to near nothing up in some of those areas. Likewise, on the south side, the warm air down there is going to be more conducive to some rain showers out there. 1 to 5 inches as you go through this little narrow band. And then here inside the green lines is where I expect that bulk of the snow to fall. Now notice the deep red colors that you see here, a few right here in and around Fargo, very close, too close for comfort. Start the snowblower. Maybe I'll do that on my next break to make sure mine is up and ready to go for the heavy snow, because I don't want to shovel this junk, and it will melt away fairly quickly. So don't overdo your back. That's another reminder. That heavy band of snow moves through areas in Grand Forks and points south towards the South Dakota line. The Sisseton Hills usually ring out a little bit of extra snow. And then we're looking at it going right up through Lakes Country. So Otter Tail County, you are in the area where I think the heavier snow will be. You get just south of that down into Grant County and Douglas County, and they'll be on that ramp going down fairly quickly. But another 3 to 4 inches on top of the 3 to 4 inches or more that you saw from the last round is on its way. And Fargo sits in this zone here where I've got it labeled 5 to 10 plus today instead of 7 to 14 plus, which is what I labeled it yesterday. But I still believe on the high side, we're going to get some of those 14 or 15 inch totals on that. The Sisseton Hills, southeast North Dakota, maybe right here in the central Red River Valley. We'll see as we go through. So that's what we're looking at there. Let me make sure I can see all questions as they're coming in. Thank you very much. And you know what? Another idea is, hi, I'm meteorologist Hutch Johnson. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Thank you for joining me. We're going to go over a lot of weather information, but right now we're in a little bit of a dry slot on the radar, and I'm going to go ahead and take some time to explain to you what's going to happen and what goes into this forecast. So when you're watching Hutch, I not only fully describe what's going on, I try to answer your questions, and I also try to mix in a little bit of fun meteorology as well. So here we go. In this update, we're going to talk a little bit more about these snowfall forecasts here. And now let's go to the radar so we can take a look at this, because we do have some areas of severe weather across the nation tonight. And in our area, that snow has continued to wind and wrap its way into the eastern part of the state. When will it get here? We'll go over that in the hour-by-hour forecast. Now, a full look at what's going on the forecast model. Snow showers are wrapping up in Montana. They're moving into parts of South Dakota. From Rapid City, it's now becoming a north wind there. So that's bringing some dry, cool, and colder air out, and that should lessen the snow chances out here. We're going to see the snow ending from west to east. Let me stop this from zipping and zapping around the map. Now you can see La Crosse, Wisconsin, all the way out towards Oshkosh, Bagosh, and Green Bay. Heavy rain and thunderstorms out there soaking the soils of Wisconsin right now as we go through. Now as we take a look at what's going on here, Peoria. We got some tornado warnings out there with a storm that has produced a couple of funnel clouds along its way to areas just south of Peoria in Illinois out there. So do keep in mind that we have some wild weather working its way through parts of the Central Plains. Let's see if I can, I think I might need to move this around. The earth is tilted a little bit. Let's go this way. There we go. Okay, so now I can see things straight. Okay, so as we go into Aberdeen and to Bismarck, we do have some areas out here that are seeing some heavier snow shower activity making its way through. No travel advisory still remains in effect in parts of north central South Dakota. You can see this counterclockwise flow to the spin. And here's that dry slot I was talking about. It's this big area of no snow all the way from the rain showers near Marshall, Minnesota, and points south towards Fairmount and Worthington into the Fargo Moorhead area where it's showing some showers out there. Hi, Minneapolis, good to have you on board, and thank you very much. We'll keep up with some questions here in just a minute. Now, will this be filling in as we go through? I do believe we will, and we're going to talk about this right now because it's a real cool thing in science and meteorology. There are a couple of factors here, and I did mention in the last update that in that big band of heavy snow that's going to be making its way through overnight tonight, I do anticipate there's going to be some areas here that get some pretty lull conditions for a while. It means it's going to really kind of be quiet for a bit. So not everybody is going to get that whopping 5 to 10 plus inches of snow. There's going to be pockets that get missed, and it happens every time. And it's part of the job of mine to try to improve my communication about what I'm expecting with that system. So I fully expect in that 5 to 10 range as it makes its way through here to see 5 to 6, 7 inches of snow. But there's inevitably going to be places that get missed by it, and you have 1.5 inches of slush, and you're like, Hutch, what happened? Well, did we get dry slot? Did that work in? Yeah, that could be part of it. But the other thing that can impact these storms, and I'm going to try to stop this thing from looping here for us so we can just take a look at the now radar data. These thunderstorms down here take a bunch of moisture out of the flow. So this low pressure system is drawing winds down from the south. That's humid air. That humid air has made its way up into the northern plains now for Iowa and parts of southern Minnesota. This can rob the flow of moisture up into the system that we're dealing with. But, and it's a really big but, check this out. The low pressure system is back here. So we still have some flow into the system on this side as well. Now, that said, there's a lot of other dynamics that go into making this system work, and I think I've got a cool way to show you what I expect. But first, I'm going to review the hour-by-hour forecast with you real quickly because I think that's important to go over if someone's waiting for that. So we'll get that hour-by-hour forecast details sneaking on up through here, and let's put the model guidance up there because that's what we're looking at. Now, on this, you're looking at the future radar. This is a model that gets updated every hour or so, so I'm going to just refresh it and make sure we got... There's a newer model that goes in, but this one doesn't go out into too far tomorrow. But what it does, it updates every hour. Now, what you're noticing with this particular system is that space or gap in the radar data fills in here. I'm going to answer why I think that is going to happen. There could be some places here that don't get that batch moving in. I have a phone call here. Let me quiet that. Okay, so now as we take a look at what's going on, the snow will begin and get very heavy by the time we get to about that 8 to 10 o'clock hour tonight. And so you want to be where you're going to be here in the Red River Valley in western Minnesota by between 8 and 10 o'clock. After that, it's going to be very terrible. Now, where you see these gray spots, that's incredible snowfall rates of 1 to 2 inches per hour. And it lasts all night and into the basically late morning hours and early afternoon hours in the Red River Valley. Notice, in Bismarck, you rise and shine, and the snow is all but done there, but you will have, improved travel conditions because I'm certain our road crews will get things open and rolling fairly quickly on the backside of the system. But do have Hutch's weather app right there and handy to check those road conditions out. Rain and ice moves into northern Wisconsin. Once again, that's round number 2 of an ice storm for the UP of Michigan, where we do have that ice storm warning that is in place for that particular area. So I'm going to pause this now. We're going to take a look at some models and some data here. But first, I do want to point out that we do have a couple of weather alerts to go over, and I want to go over this. You see these, going across your TV screen, so I'm not going to belabor the point here, but basically the entire portion from southern Montana through all of the I-94 corridor of North Dakota, all of northern South Dakota in red. This is a winter storm warning. We're expecting bands of heavy snow here. Not every county is going to get it, and some that are on the edges may get a little bit more than anticipated. By the way, the blue counties here, that's a winter weather advisory, and that just means a little bit lower snowfall amount anticipated there. That correlates to Hutch's 1 to 5 zone out there on both sides of the storm system. This purple nonsense, that's another ice storm warning. So basically from your area of Bayfield here, Superior, Wisconsin, all the way out into that area near Green Bay once again, where we had power outages with the last storm. This same area in the UP all the way to Sault Ste. Marie going to get whacked with some more ice, as you saw on the forecast model I just showed you. Now, elsewhere in the nation, just because I've got to do this, severe thunderstorm watches from Oklahoma City right up into parts of western Missouri. Here's Kansas City. We've had tornado warnings in northwest Missouri. There's a tornado watch, and that's where we see the Peoria system rolling its way through. I believe I mentioned that risk of severe weather as this storm system makes its way through. And we could see some pretty stout ones up here on the north side of Iowa as well, as they push their way into parts of Wisconsin tonight as well. So quite a system working its way through. So when meteorologists look for snowfall forecasts, and I will put the forecast back up on your screen here so we can allude to it real quickly, I wanted to point out that there's a lot of factors that go into the forecast of snow. Now, models do a lot of thinking for us, and they try to calculate all these things, but some of the things they're calculating in here are how much snow flakes and how much snow depth will be created with this much liquid moisture. Now, there's between half of an inch and 1.5 inches of liquid equivalent moisture with this storm system, more in some places down in parts of Minnesota. So you better be thankful there you're not getting some snow out of this system, or a lot of snow out of the system. But that said, as we go from south to north, it gets colder here. So we'll have a more fluffy, drier flake. Not super dry like we get in December or January, but certainly drier than what's going to be along this south side with the freezing rain and sleet. So keep that in mind. Now, one of the difficulties there is, will 1 inch of liquid make 5 inches of snow, 3 inches of slush, or will it be 10 inches of snow? On average, many models lock into a 10-to-1 ratio. That's the average. But for this storm, it's not even going to be close down to the south. You'll have enough moisture for over 1 foot of snow here. But because it's so warm, it's going to melt fairly quickly, and it's going to compact very quickly and make that slushy kind of snow for you. But here in the middle, we're going to get a little of everything. So temperature is critical. We're going to go over why and where. And then the other thing that's critical is lift in the atmosphere. We get this moisture, we've got to lift it to make the clouds. And once we lift the air, cool it, and make the clouds, we got to have the right temperatures to make snowflakes. So up above us, there has to be some freezing air, and there are some critical temperatures that Hutch looks for, and I'm going to show you now. So let's go ahead and take a look at this, and I'll answer a couple of questions along my way, but that's what I have planned for you here. And let me know if you like this content in the comments here below, because it's one of the exciting parts of me is to explain some of the reasons for why I'm forecasting what I do, why I believe we're going to see some snow fill back in on the radar screen here. Let's go. First and foremost, we're going to go to a regional map, and we're going to look at a forecast model here. So let me find it. There we go. Okay, now let's go ahead and take a look at this high resolution model here. And this shows us a look at the snow. Now, as I put this puppy into motion here, I do got to tell you what, we're going to see it winding through, and notice it goes from no precipitation here with the rain here. So it's starting out pretty good. And then as I put it into motion, zip, 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 boom, it fills in. What happened there? What happened to that dry slot? Is that really going to fill in, or is it going to stay dry? Well, the honest answer is it could be in some spots remaining dry, but it's not necessarily a dry slot. It is a lack of lift in the atmosphere. The moisture's there. It's just a lack of lift. And in fact, some dry slots are actually descending or sinking air that are compressing and warming and becoming a little drier than their surroundings, cutting off some of that fancy snowflake material that you end up having to shovel on the backside. So now what I want to do with this particular deal here is take a look at a forecast model. Let me pick the one that I've been liking. Let's go with this one. Let me double check that I like it. We'll run through. Okay, yeah, most of the models are pretty good in the first few hours. Now, upper air patterns. When we launched the weather balloon here in just a little bit at 7 o'clock Central Daylight Time from Bismarck and from Aberdeen and from International Falls at the National Weather Service offices, Duluth, you're going to rock one up as well as the Twin Cities. That's very far apart, but those are the only samples of the temperature and moisture characteristics of the atmosphere as we go up. That's it. We use weather balloons for that. We do some interpretation from satellite. We do get some data from airplanes. But for a consistent snapshot of what's going on throughout the depth of the atmosphere, we rely on those good old-fashioned 1930s weather balloons. Of course, we have some fancy technology on them now. Thanks for the hearts. I see a few hearts coming up there, and I do appreciate that. If you like the content, hit the like button. Now, we're going to talk about what this means and why it's going to fill out. The first thing we're going to look at is how to visualize lift. And why in the world? I wanted to show you this. The low pressure center right here. Do you see it? There's an area of low pressure out in the Black Hills now as we head into the evening hours. There's another area of low pressure way down here that's driving the convection that we have out to the east. Watch what happens to this low pressure system as we set this into motion. It goes down here and it congeals with the other one and disappears. How in the world can a low pressure system that's all the way in eastern Iowa do this? That is a good question. Typically, the heaviest snow band follows within about 100 miles or so of the surface low on the northwest side. We ain't nowhere near 100 miles from that low pressure system. So what's causing that lift? And it's what's going on in the air up above us. Think of this. If you go into a tub of water, maybe your bathtub or a swimming pool, and you go to the water that's at the top, and you swoosh the water with your arm motion like this, and separate the water at the top, you're going to create upwelling from the water below. So in the upper atmosphere, it acts like a fluid. If we get what's called divergence of air aloft, when those patterns diverge, just like our lanes of traffic diverge, that's leaving a vacuum of air molecules right above your town, and that causes rising air. If we get rising air or lift, we're going to fill in that void very quickly with some new developing clouds. So what's going on here is not caused by the surface low. Let's go to an upper air map. And to do that, I get my glasses adjusted, and let's go to the 500 millibar level. Now, what you're looking at here is about halfway up through the atmosphere by pressure. We start out at about 1,000 millibars at the surface, and this is the 500 millibar map. It's up at about 5,500 meters in the air. Do you see the low here? This is called the center of lower heights. You can correlate it to lower pressure, but it's not really low pressure. Here's a center of low heights. That's where the low is up above us. That's where the counterclockwise circulation is above us. All these little wind plots here show us we've got spinning air right over the Black Hills. That's exactly in the same spot as where the surface low is in South Dakota. Now, if we put this into motion, we know that that South Dakota low shifted off at the surface way out into and joined the one in Iowa, but this one doesn't. The upper air low is what's moving through. Now, as we go toward the midnight hour, when the clock strikes midnight, here's what's happening over our area. This is the cool part about visualizing meteorology and what causes lift in the atmosphere to make clouds. If this air here at the ground has moisture in it, look what's going on here. The wind here is circling around this area of upper level, lower heights. And as it does that, the wind goes and travels on the interstate up here through South Dakota, and then it bends back towards Bismarck and heads right into Montana, so it isn't late to the rodeo. Look at what the lanes of traffic are doing over here. The air molecules are moving up through northwest Iowa and then shooting out that way towards Wisconsin. In the middle, it's just like the lanes of traffic are splitting apart right here. You can actually visualize it. So this area right here has a lot of diverging air over the top of us right now in the mid-levels of the atmosphere. This is a perfect recipe for what we call, I like to call it unzipping in the mid-levels of the atmosphere. When those air molecules spread apart like that above us, it creates lift or a void in the mid-levels and upper levels of the atmosphere, and the air starts rising. No, my necktie won't rise up with it, but the air rises up, and that's what causes it to fill in. So that area of what we call diverging air aloft is going to move right over our ballpark as we head through the midnight hour. That's going to fuel our thunderstorm. Watch this. Now we still have this diverging air right over us in western parts of Minnesota, and it's over Grand Forks as well. We're not getting as much snow there likely because at the surface we got more of a northerly component to the wind, so it's going to cut off that snow by drying out that. When you lift dry air, it doesn't really make a lot of snowflakes. So this is critical to fill in the lift. and look at it. It lasts with this diverging pattern of air over our area and region all the way through the overnight and into the morning hours. And then it does start skedaddling. Once your wind turns northerly here, then we're pretty much shutting it off and we're going to be done in the very early hours of the afternoon. And that is a look at the mid-levels of the atmosphere. The other ingredient that we need for this is temperatures. We have to make snowflakes, and some temperatures make snowflakes a whole lot gooder than others. So what I'm talking about here is like those big fat flakes that we see flying through the skies last night, the night before, and that we will see tonight, and they're getting out there out in western North Dakota right now. Hi, Bismarck, if you're on from Bismarck, give me a wave, Dickinson, and good to talk to you guys in New Salem and all of you out to the west, Minot included in the Washburn area and out in western South Dakota as well. First and foremost, the temperatures are critical. Now at the surface, it's not all happening at the surface. Yes, it's nicer to have temperatures below freezing to have snowflakes hit the ground, but it's the temperature of the air from the cloud where the snowflakes form down to the ground that's that critical temperature. And there's a couple of, we used to use what was called, before we had all these fancy computer models, a magic chart. There's certain temperatures we look for, and I'm going to do that with you. Now we're looking at upper air temperatures. Let me see. Okay, we're going to start a little lower in the atmosphere, closer to the ground, at 850 millibars, about 1,500 meters up. Here's your low pressure system as we start the evening off, and let's get to this prime time category here as we go towards midnight tonight. Here we go. There's midnight, 5Z. Okay, there we go. That's close enough. Now, notice, there's no area of upper level circulation here like we had at that 500 millibar low. No, this looks a lot more like the surface map. And our winds will be easterly at this level. This color that you see here is temperature. Now, when I slide the old pointer over the top of our area, the temperature we're looking for at this level of the atmosphere, about 1,500 meters, is -3 to -5. And where you see this white color is perfect. So this little white color right here is where we have perfect temperatures for making and maintaining big flakes. Big flakes. So this is a great temperature for snowflake production and the growth of these snowflakes. So when we warm up a little bit in the upper levels, it gets warm and they stick together. Now notice down here, what are the temperatures down here in southern parts of Minnesota? 0 degrees. 0 is the freezing mark, so we would have some snowflakes there, but that's pretty warm for a snowflake to form. So it don't like to form right at 0. We got to have at least -3 to -5 at this level. Notice where that -3 to -5 is here and here. And now once your winds turn northerly, we talked about this, that does try to tend to dry things out a little bit on your backside of that low pressure system. Now, that's a look at that level. Let's go up a little step here. 700 millibars. This tells us something. Colors are different. The idea is the same. Here's that upper level, lower heights. We see it at 700 millibars as well. The heavy band of snow tends to exactly follow the 700 millibar lower height center. Exactly. And wherever this goes, there's extra lift. Why? Because of that divergence that we talked about here, and a temperature for making the right snowflakes is a magic number, -10. That's the white color, right at the edge of the pink and the white. So if I put my little cursor over the top of that as we go to the midnight hour, let's get that on midnight. Bug, chug, 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 chug. There's midnight. This pink line is moving right into Fargo. So as we cross into midnight, the temperature regime that we're looking for, close to this -10 at this level of the atmosphere, is about 3,500 meters above the ground. This is perfect for making snowflakes. It's perfect for making snowflakes up here. But if you don't have lift and you don't have, and if you have dry air that you're lifting, you're not going to make snowflakes. But if you have the moisture, and you have, which we do, moist air at the surface, and you have -9 degrees at this level, and you have a closed off low pressure system, this is perfect. This would push a heavy band of snow right next to this circle here and on up along its track. Watch the track it takes. See it? Black Hills, Bismarck, South Dakota border, right into Fargo, right up into Hillsboro, right into Buxton. Look out Ada, look out Monoman. I'm standing right in the way. Let's get back over here. So temperature's good enough for snow, but we're looking for this closed low. It's going to be right. See how we have this circular pattern to the winds here? There's a right in here. we have some heavy snow that's going to approach us right over you folks in Todd County over here and Cass County out here. Oh my goodness, I can't tell you, but it looks like the Bemidji area on up toward Duluth then as this system winds its way through. So you just saw the upper level low. You just saw the fact that the low pressure system at the surface is going through parts of Indiana. How are we getting snow here? It's this upper level system. And that is what I wanted to share with you tonight. So now if we go directly back to Hutch's forecast map and you take a look at this snowfall that I have, 700 millibar low moving right here, baby. And on the north side of that is where that track of the heaviest snow will be. Could we get a shot or a heavier band setting up in the Grand Forks area? You betcha, just like it set up in parts of Thief River Falls last night. I see a question. I see a hand raise. Flakes the size of Hutch's hands will be possible when we start seeing those big times proper temperatures. Lightly snowing, Devil's Lake. Keep up the awesome job for keeping us safe. Fish Whisperer, thank you. I don't know if you saw my fishing picture, but Hutch could use some fish whispering as well. I did make a trip up to Lake of the Woods. It was a beautiful time. And what is the saying? A bad day fishing is a better day at the office, better than a bad day at a good day at the office. I don't know. It's something like that. But I had a great time out there. And on hutchesweather.com, you can upload your photos. As you go over to my website here, I wanted to share this photo with you since you brought that up, but it's kind of fun. Go into the viewer pictures. I do believe I may have loaded this puppy up onto the website here, but maybe not. Oh, there it is. This is Hutch's big catch at Lake of the Woods, Minnesota. Now, I know it looks small here, but this was huge. I have really big hands. So, yeah, that was my walleye of the day. It was a little slow, but it was still a lot of fun. Okay, now, how much snow in Sartell, Minnesota? Okay, good question. I like that question. Let's go right back to my snowfall graphic right over here. And I want to point out to you that you are going to be in the area that's going to be in that sharp zone. So as you look in Sartell, as you look in Sauk Center, and as you look out there towards St. Cloud, we're going to see it go from 0 to about 4 or 5 inches pretty quickly. So let me pull up the forecast map one more time. And this is more of a bird's eye view, so you got to kind of know the area here. But again, St. Cloud is right here. And you're in between the green line and the black line. So closer to the black line here, you're going to have 0 to 1 inches. I mean, it's going to be nothing to 1 inch to 5 inches in an awful hurry. And you know the distance as you're driving Highway 10 out there and you're going by off 15 and north of St. Cloud, and you're cruising along, you're going up through Rice Lake and all them fancy places there, and you run across, you're going to go from just a little bit on your tire treads to it's starting to suck your car around. Good question there, Dan T. I hope you have a good day. How much for Sartell? If I had to throw a number on it, I might say 2 inches of slush. Okay, let's go with that. That's my thought there. Could easily be 0. Okay, it could be easily 0 with a little shift or a little dry slot moving in, but you get the picture. Hey, Clint Moe, thank you very much for joining me. Ethan Croto, thank you very much. Let's talk to Brad from Phoenix, or Brad, I think that's Brad Phoenix. With the region at 33 to 38, how far off does the surface temp need to be from the dew point to flip this snowstorm, sleet, rain? Does that threshold change in April versus January? Yeah. The dew point threshold, a common dew point this time of the year is to see dew points close to our air temperatures that are on average in the 40s. So if we get dew points in the 40s, that air is pretty laced with, well, as much moisture as it can hold. So when we get into summertime, we get temperatures in the 70s and 80s, and a 40-degree dew point would not be very good for making rain. So if we have dew points in the 40s, I don't forecast a lot of rain in the summer. We start getting in the 60s, starting to get a little sweaty, and that's where we could get some heavy rain producers. Now, in winter, when we're talking January, and our average temperature is a high around 20 degrees, then a dew point around 10 to 20 isn't bad. But you can imagine that the snowflakes are a lot drier snow. So yeah, that threshold does change. Actually, the difference between the temperature and dew point, the closer those numbers are, no matter what the temperature is, because the temperature, the dew point can never be greater than the temperature. So the temperature is the temperature of the air outside. We all know what that is. The dew point is a temperature too, but it's a temperature we have to cool the air down to for us to make a cloud or for us to make dew. In the winter, we make frost. It's more like when you see frost on your windshield in the morning. How does that happen? When the temperature drops down to the dew point then frost forms on your car's windshield or on blades of grass in your yard? Great question. And yes, those thresholds change a lot here in the Northern Plains because we go from a bone dry air mass. Typically, our rainfall amounts up here in the winter months, when you talk about liquid moisture, are under an inch as we go from January through February. But then in March, we start going in the different direction and it starts becoming above an inch. And then when we go into June and July, those are our wetter months, as we see rainfall amounts averaging over 2 inches for the month on average. A little different than Phoenix, so that's for sure. And the dew points out there can be in the single digits or teens when your temperatures are in the 90s. But that's when you hear everybody saying, at least it's a dry heat. So there's that. Good questions. Okay, if you have a question about the forecast, I'm on it. Kim and Carol, thank you so very much for staying on the weather. You bet. Just plowed snow in Bemidji and it was wet and heavy. Not looking forward to the next round either. Sean, thank you for what you do. It's a lot of hard work out there, and you definitely want to make sure that you're checking the snowblower. Maybe in the next break, Hutch goes and starts his snowblower just to make sure it's gassed up and ready to scream in case we get on the closer to the 10-inch side here in Fargo. And I'm thinking there's a legit chance that this could be one of our bigger snows in the last little bit. And by the way, where Fargo sits as far as snowfall for the season, we just got 4 inches. I think the official measurement, I don't know which one they use, but 3.5 inches or so. So we were 20 inches below average for the year. So we take about 4 off of that. That's 16 inches. So we're about a foot off for the, and we stand to be very close to that. This system could put Fargo back up to about average for this time of the year. Another question that was brought up last time is, will this help the drought in Minnesota? And the drought index monitor just came out the other day, yesterday as a matter of fact, but we were busy covering the weather here. So I did want to point out the fact that yes, I do think that what happened yesterday with all of the wet snow and rain that moved through Minnesota, these areas have some pretty significant drought across parts of near Duluth here as you go in toward the Iron Range, also towards Ely, Hibbing, Grand Rapids, all the way through this Brainerd Lakes area on up in towards Walker and out towards Hubbard County. Here you see that in southern parts of Beltrami County for you folks in Bemidji. This did not include yesterday's snow event, so that is going to take a bite out of this crime. Same thing goes down here. There was some significant wet rain that made its way through southwest parts of Minnesota. That should help these go in the right direction. And now tonight, moving into your Saturday, as we go through this Easter weekend, we'll have another round. So I think we could see some significant improvement to this drought. Montana needed it. And here's a look at where the drought is the worst. The Great Falls area, all of north central Montana from Glacier Park all the way up to north of, say, Glasgow, not far from Glasgow, but certainly Havre, and on up into areas north of Billings here, as well as west of Billings into the Beartooth Mountains. So keep in mind that things out there in Montana are very dry, and they did get a fair bit of moisture with the system as well. And I'll take you to a look at the radar. And let's see if I can find the, yeah, here, let's see. This is called the rainfall estimates. Let's see if it goes back far enough for me. There we go. It's loading that up. Give me 1 second. Okay, so what we can see here with this system is that it did a lot of raining in the mountains here south of Billings and in towards Sheridan, Wyoming, and it also got the Riverton area here, not far from Douglas, as with some good moisture there. But as far as Great Falls go, look how dry the system was. So the estimated amount of liquid moisture with this system here, as we go south of Billings, was closer to 1 inch. About 3/4 of an inch there between Billings and Sheridan. But Great Falls, yeah, not so much, maybe 1/10 of an inch. And as you go up on the Highway 2 corridor here through Glasgow and Fort Peck and on towards places like Culbertson and Wolf Point and Poplar, 1 to 2/10 of an inch of liquid equivalent moisture with that system. Val, good to have you on board. Thanks for the stars. Thanks, Rick Fox. You all are the very best. Wahpeton, Breckenridge, question mark. Hey, Nathan, thank you for joining. If you have a question about that, are you asking about the snowfall amounts? Wahpeton, Breckenridge is in the warning, and I do anticipate your area will be in the game. for significant snow. I've got 5 to 10 plus for your area. And let me pull it up here. This is another great way to look at it because this is a great way to explain it. This is what's called the 50th percentile for snow. So what does that mean? That's the expected amount of snow. So I can zoom right into Breckenridge and see. And this is what the National Weather Service expects. 9.4 inches. I almost never put an amount that's this specific on anywhere. Why? Because from one side of the county to the other, or even across the block, we can legit see 2, 3, 4 inches of difference. With that said, that's what we expect. Now, that's the 50th percentile. Let me change this over now, and the timing will also dictate this. This is 24 hours for the 24-hour forecast. So we'll carry this out through the whole storm. And this is 48 hours now. Let's see if that number changed. Okay, still in that 9-inch category here. Now, what happens if it overperforms and we get into that, say, 75th to 90th percentile, like if it really unloads? And it does this. These storms do unload in specific areas. So here's the 90th percentile, well above what we expect, and that would be a foot. So that gives you the range that we talked about yesterday in that 7 to 14 window. I hope that answers your question, but this is the higher end. So now as we take a look at the higher end expected at the 48-hour period, the James River Valley seeing about 8 or 9, but you get down south here near the border, and particularly in my thought into the Sisseton Hills, because topography makes a huge difference. I think this number will be a little better than that in and around the Sisseton Hills. Even better than the 10 inches you're seeing here. I think if we're going to get that 10 to 14 or 12 to 14, the Sisseton Hills up towards Gwinner and Lisbon have a decent shot at seeing that. Grand Forks on the high side, you're at 9 inches, but on the expected amount side, based on what the Weather Service has here, I can plot this for you. So now I'll just plot some numbers here. 5.5 is what's expected. Grand Forks, Jamestown, 6.6, 3.8 Carrington, Devils Lake, 2.1, and here we go down to nothing. Let's go up to Belcourt here. They're 0. But as we go into, let's say, Rock Lake and Candu, here we go. Candu, it looks like 0.6 for you. Steele, another 4 inches for you. Bismarck, I think you're already seeing that based on some of the slushy highway shots I saw out there. Ellendale, you're in the game at 7 plus inches of snow. Let's go to Fergus. Woo-wee! Fergus to Pelican Pete's going to be celebrating out there with about 8 inches of snow potential. Fargo Moorhead, if you're wondering, the expected amount from the National Weather Service's forecast is about 9.2. Foston, 8.5. The Bemidji area, 10.6. Oh my gosh, that's a pretty healthy dose. International Falls and the Rainy River, 81, 8.1, not 81 inches. That would be a mountainish amount of snow. Badette, 5, Roseau, and War Road, you're on that zone of drop. Drop me off at the ballpark. And yeah, it's a little too cold and snowy to go to the ballpark. But you know what? This could very easily be 0 on the north side, very easily. But these are some expected amounts across the region. Now get down into South Dakota with us, and now let's go down to Watertown here so we can take care of Aberdeen. We got you at 4.6. Let's go out here to Rossholt. How about 7.1? I said 7.1 in Rossholt. Well, let's go 6.9. That looks good. And then how about Watertown, 3.3. And then we had some folks asking about Minnesota. So let's go over here. As you go to Brainerd Lakes area, pretty good. Virginia, Duluth, pretty good. Ashland, ice. Ice is going to cut you off, but it still looks like you're going to get a fair swath of snow on the backside of the system. And it could snow in your area till Sunday in the wee hours of the morning. Minneapolis is going to be closer to an inch on the north side of the town. Wilmer, and then as you go in towards Hutchinson and down towards Mankato, we see it quickly drop off to just a bit of slush. Is all we're talking about. Somebody sent me a picture too today that showed a measurement stick. It looked like it was snow. No, it was sand on a beach somewhere in the beachy, warm area. So another great video. Patty, thank you so very much. I appreciate that. Nathan, thank you very much. Judy says, thank you for updating us. Happy Easter to you, and happy Easter to you and your family as well. All right, so here's what Hutch is working on. The actual specifics. Sad as a snowmobiler, it rains in January and snows in April. Yeah, definitely. That's kind of backwards, and that's how our weather can be sometimes. But it keeps Hutch off the streets, that's for sure. It's been very busy around here. So these are expected amounts. We talked about why it can change. We talked about dry slots. We talked about thunderstorms that can rob some of the moisture that will be flowing into our rising air that can cut that off. So there will be areas that just get missed. But then there's going to be areas that get more than the 50th percentile. And I think we could see a 14-inch reading out of this puppy. And in fact, we may before morning or early in the morning out in parts of South Dakota, not far from you folks in, say, Eureka, Mobridge, and out to the west of you, maybe near Faith. So as you go in this area out here, the forecast isn't underperforming, but it snowed there all day. So we're not counting what's already on the ground. So that's why it looks like a lower forecast out there. All right, Clint, thank you for your update. Now, here's what's going on. Let's see if there's some other information here. If anybody wants to take a quick look at severe weather, I will do that with you. Let's go to the radar right now, and I want to clear some of these numbers and digits off. Mankato, we got a lot of lightning. Fairmount to Mankato, expect some heavy rain in your area. These are not severe storms, but as you look down towards Iowa, they start to get strong. And here we have a Boeing line segment of storms right here. This is a windy thunderstorm cluster when it starts to take this backward C shape, moving into the interstate corridor there. That's Interstate 35 as you go towards Osceola and on into parts of Missouri. So this system here is rocking its way through Winterset and on into the areas of Des Moines right now, and that's some pretty heavy rain. Now, as far as severe weather goes, go down a little bit farther. St. Joe's, Missouri, we had a tornado warning up here a little bit earlier. St. Joe's now under a severe thunderstorm warning for some hail and thunderstorms there. There is a risk of severe weather. I think we covered that in the last update for tonight, but there are some thunderstorm and tornado watches. This is in the thunderstorm watch area as we go south, Topeka, Kansas, straight down into Stillwater. Once we get into Oklahoma City area, we do have lines of strong thunderstorms there. A few are severe. Hail, the number one threat with this area tonight. Down in Abilene, Texas, not Aberdeen, South Dakota, we got a strong thunderstorm working its way across that area tonight as well. When we take a look at the big picture, we see down in the Rio Grande Valley of Texas some thunderstorm activity. Much of Louisiana buried with some thunder showers. And look at this, we have strong thunderstorms moving in towards Jacksonville right now. And then as we go up here is where the tornado risk is. So here we have a warm front area. Warm fronts are a great area for there to be some spin in the atmosphere. So there is a tornado watch across this zone. And in that area, we've had a few funnel clouds. And as a matter of fact, we do have a tornado warning for Bloomington as we go south of Pontiac, Michigan. So let's look at this here a little bit. That's not Pontiac, Michigan. Let's go ahead and take a look at Illinois here. So Peoria and out towards Bloomington. Let me go ahead and take it to the single site data here so we can see a little bit more detail with the storm. It will take a second to load up, and I'll need to pick the radar site that I want to use here. So let's go to, oh boy, you can see they have the same problem there. These are pretty far from radar sites. There's the Davenport radar. That isn't too close. Springfield should have a radar. Here's one in Lincoln. Okay, let's go to that one. So that's a pretty close radar. Let's hope it loads up fairly quickly. Okay, so this particular storm system here rotating its way towards Danvers, we can read that the National Weather Service says it's a radar indicated tornado, and the storm is going to be capable of 1 1/2 inch diameter hail as well. Radar data not loading up with this particular storm at this particular time, but this has a history of producing, these are funnel clouds, these little red icons, and then there was a tornado here by it looks like Delavan out here in south of Tremont. There were a couple of tornado reports out there with this system. Let's see. Train Spotter reported a tornado with the system as it made its way 4 miles southwest of Hopedale. And then another one in that same area. Remark, touchdown and lifted, and a rotating wall cloud was observed shortly thereafter. Oop, new tornado warning for this Topeka storm here that's working its way through the region as well. So it's doing what we call training. That last storm that you see over here moved through this area and had some funnel cloud sightings, and now we've got new storms working their way through. And I apologize for not having a radar site up here because that one must be down, or there might be a data problem with that one. I thought we might have one a little bit closer, but now Davenport, Iowa is a little ways away. Let's see if that one loads up. Shazam. Okay, so This is a long ways away from the radar site, but you can definitely see the greens next to the reds there. That velocity would indicate motion toward the radar and the reds motion away. So there's your couplet, at least elevated well above the ground from this radar view, and it's moving off to the east. And this particular storm has a little bit more of a stronger couplet here, but it's even higher in the atmosphere because it's farther away from the radar site there. So yeah, there's active weather out there tonight going through parts of well, southern Illinois and central Illinois. And we do have those thunderstorms spreading all the way out through the Ohio River Valley here, moving through Mansfield and on towards New Philadelphia, a severe thunderstorm warning as well. So that's what's going on. 1991 short man. How are the driving conditions Dickinson to Fargo from now until 2 a.m.? You ask a wonderful question. Let's get back to local, and I'll put this on here and let it kind of flop around, and we will talk about road conditions. I think that's the best way to see, and I think it's a good opportunity for you to download my app when you get a chance, and I'll show you how this works. One of the things that you can do, whether you're visiting, let's do it on the website this time, just because it's fun to use that as a tool as well. During my broadcasts, I like to promote and help people see what the capabilities are of the site. Now, number one, the road conditions reports available for all states in our region, from Wisconsin and Minnesota through the Dakotas, Montana, Wyoming, Colorado, Iowa, and even Nebraska, as well as our Canadian neighbors in Saskatchewan and Manitoba. Now, when you go to the website up here, you can go to the road conditions button right here. You just push on it and it takes you to the road conditions page. Now, you're asking about North Dakota, but here's where you select what state you want. In North Dakota, if you want to see with your own eyes what's going on, I think that's the best way to do it. And now we'll go ahead and move this screen up just a little bit. There is a travel alert in purple. If you're not sure what this purple means, you can always click on the legend here on the left side, and it'll show you that the purple counties are a travel alert. An alert means you can still travel, but conditions could get pretty tough. Now, you're asking about that zone from Dickinson to Fargo, and you're talking about the wee hours of the overnight, so 2 a.m. Now, in Bismarck, there's a pretty healthy band of snow moving through that area, and it's going to be enveloping the Fargo area as we head towards that midnight to 2 a.m. And what I mean by that is I expect the snowfall rates to really increase after about 11 to midnight. So because of that, the closer you get to Fargo and all the way through this zone here, anywhere east of, say, Jamestown and even in Jamestown, I anticipate some rough conditions. Now, the pro tip on this, if you want to see cameras, the North Dakota DOT, you go to the layers tab right here and you click on it, and now you can turn on the cameras and you can turn on snow plows, and you can see where the plows have been, and you can actually look in from the seat of the plow and see what the drivers are seeing as they're working our roads. So here you go. Let's take a look at the route right now. And as you look at the, well, Dickinson, by the time you get to Morton County there, you're crossing through Richardson Taylor and you're going through and boom, you get this. So this is sitting in the seat, you know, grab your Funyuns and you're enjoying a ride with the plow. You can check it out. The roads are clear. You can see them. There's some icy spots out there, and the visibility is better as you enter western Morton County. But you get into Bismarck, there's some healthier snow. This is the east side of the Bismarck-Mandan area. We're going to jump in this plow. Visibility is a little reduced here. The road is clear. It's very wet, and the amount of snow has gone up just a little bit. So keep that in mind. Now, let's continue on Interstate 94. And as we go out towards Kidder County, I'm not kidding. It's let's see if this camera I think hasn't been working. Let's get in the plow though. Here's a look at the plow view from there, and we do have some lanes with some slushiness on there, but we have visibility that's at least, I don't know, maybe that's a good mile or so that we can see. So right now the heavy band of snow has not set up there. Now as you continue your way into the Jamestown area, here is a look in Jamestown. Right in town here, the plow doing a great job keeping things running. The snow is not heavy at this time right now in Jamestown. And then by the time you get to Fargo right now, not too bad. As we take a look at the conditions on the west side of town there, we barely have anything left of our 3 to 4 inches of snow on the side of the road from round one, and here comes round number 2. My concern is that if you're talking about as late as 2 a.m., you're going to be driving into the meat and potatoes of the storm with that hour-by-hour forecast that I was showing just a minute earlier. And I will go over that one more time for you here, and there it is. Okay, so now let me load this up. We're going to go back to the model. We're going to go to the latest HRRR model, and now I'll allow you to see it too so we can all look at it together. Okay. This is the 22. I'm going to go to the 18. There we go. Okay. The 0Z model. The balloons, the weather balloons are just about to be launched. The data won't come in from them until 8 o'clock. So we won't have new models coming in until the earliest 9 to 10 o'clock. And the longer range models won't come out until about 11 o'clock tonight. But in the meantime, I'll have plenty of work to do to keep me out of trouble. So don't worry about that. Let's put this puppy into motion here. And now let's see. As we set this into motion, look at the heavy bands setting up here just south of Minot on the Highway 2 corridor here. So you're going through, well, that's Maddock and Starkweather and out here through the Devil's Lake Basin. That just shows up briefly there. And then it jumps as we go into the 11 o'clock time frame to the Red River Valley. Where you see the grays, that's heavy, heavy snow. Here's the I-94 corridor, and you're going to go through bands of moderate snowfall, but here in Fargo we start to see the grays setting up, and that is heavy snow. So that heavy snow oscillates over the Red River Valley all the way through the overnight hours till 5 a.m., 6 a.m., 7 a.m. It's still in and around the valley, and then finally the north winds start cutting this puppy off as we go towards 11. By the time we get to the early afternoon to mid-afternoon, it looks like it's winding out of the FM area, and that's the latest on the timing of the storm. I don't know why the winter storm warning just disappeared from Fargo-Moorhead. I don't know that that's the case, but let me double check this right now. I'll jump on the horn with the Weather Service and make sure that there has not been a significant change there for us. I'm not expecting like 40-mile-per-hour winds with this for the whole event. It looks like as the low is already well going to be by us by late tonight, but I just want to double check and make sure. It might be getting updated by the National Weather Service office here with some new information. So let me see. Thanks for being patient with my wandering eyes while I verify the information I got here. Okay, I see nothing there that has changed. And if I go to the winter storm warning is still in effect. Okay, so there must be something with the plotting on this particular piece of software where it shut off for just a second here. I do believe there is a winter storm warning for all of these counties here from right there through Grand Forks and on up into the Bemidji area, the Beltrami County area. I believe that both Pennington and Red Lake counties are included, as well as your neighbors in Polk County, all the way straight down here. But they may be doing some adjustments to this right now, and then they'll be coming out with something new here momentarily. But what I'm seeing on the website looked like it did at the start of the broadcast here. So keep that in mind. I'll double check that in my next break here that I will take here shortly. Now, I do want to take a minute and thank all of my fine sponsors of Hutch's Weather, and that includes you, your ideas, your support of stars and gifts online. All of it is very, very much appreciated. Your purchases of the Hutch's shop, all very much appreciated. And as you go to Hutch's Weather, please keep in mind all my fine sponsors like JLA Crop Insurance. If you click on the logo there, for anybody who is in ag, you know, we really respect all of the risks that you take with weather like this. And if you do happen to have young livestock on the ground, there's going to be some pretty strong north winds with this system as it sets up and moves through during the late overnight hours, and heavy snow as well. And some of that young livestock can be pretty, well, let's just say it can be a risk for them in these snow systems. I don't expect, because it's such a heavy snow, for us to see drifts that are 10 feet or anything like that. But it does look like with 14 inches of snow possible in a couple places that could be bad. JLA Crop Insurance, my friend Nate can take care of you. You can click on his logo here and give him a call anytime. 701-371-0311. Let him know that Hutch sent you, and he can help you with any of your insurance needs for your operation. Jake himself is a farmer. And by the way, Jake's a family man. JLA, those are the initials of his kids' names. So JLA Crop Insurance, thanks to you for sponsoring Hutch's website and hutchesweather.com. I do appreciate you very much. And thank you for keeping all of my fine sponsors that you see on my website in mind when you have needs. Now, that is a look at what's going on. I will return here in just a bit, but for now, we'll get you back to the stream, and this stream will be on until I shut it off late tonight. So do count on frequent updates here. If you don't have my app, get the app, because I will send a notification before my next update with a note on what the topic is going to be, because there will be some new information coming in as we go through, and you're going to get it here first on Hutch's Weather as we go through the night.
We see you in the chat. Keep the reports coming. Hutch is monitoring your local updates in real time. If you're seeing a change in the weather in your area, drop your city and current conditions now. You are our eyes in the field. Let's build this forecast together.
All right, everybody. Meteorologist Hutch Johnson back with you here with a quick update.
Providing live coverage for the thousands of you across the northern plains is a responsibility
for parts of
we
South
don't
Dakota.
take
Those are the
lightly.
headlines as we move into
Thank
it.
you
Radar is
for
starting to
trusting
light up. We
Hutch's
talked on
weather.
our last update there
Grab
about
a
some
quick
meteorology
refill.
as to why
Take a
it was going to
second
happen.
to share an
And I had a
update
couple
from
of
your
questions
neighborhood
I
in the
wanted to
chat.
respond to right away as we get
And we'll be
started
right
with this
back to
update. But
continue
first, I'm
monitoring these
meteorologist Hutch
developments
Johnson, and for the
together.
better part of the last 30 years, I've
Your
been covering
safety
weather like
is our
this here in
mission.
the Northern Plains, and it's great to have you on board. If you like the video, if you like the content, hit the like button out here. I'll try to address some of the questions that have come in from the last couple of minutes. And again, we're going to go over a review of how to make a setting on the weather app somebody was asking about too, so please be sure to pass along the information, and let's get started with a look at what's going on with regards to these road conditions. Really, the headline is in South Dakota, but to do this, instead of going right to that, we're going to go to the app online here. So here it is, and when I am going live, I like to send notifications out. So if your phone is like mine here, you're going to see a notification come to your phone right here, and it says, join me at 7:55. Okay, and we're going to talk a little bit about a quick update. No travel advisory lifted. We'll talk a little bit more about what's going on across the region as well. Now, when you do press on this button up here, it'll take you right to the app, and it'll take you to the videos page so that you can join the live right on your phone by clicking right here on the video. So that's just to let you know that there is something new going on and Hutch is live. So now as we go to the menu here, I do want to point out something a person did ask about these road conditions. So here we go. We're going to go right to the road reports here. And as you see there, it's on the road report section. So we'll go right to that page. Now, brought to you by my friends at OK Tire. Let's take a look at what's going on in North Dakota. The question was this: Hutch, if I make changes to the site here, how do I save those changes and how do I keep them as we go through so the next time I open the app, they're likely saved? Well, here's what you want to do. If you want the cameras and the snowplow data turned on every time, you go to this layers menu here and you click on it and you turn them on. But right here, you hit save view. Once you do that, next time you're on, shazam, it's going to come up and it should work for you, and the cameras will be ready for you to roll. Now, this is the area of a travel alert in purple here in southwest North Dakota. South central North Dakota, you're looking at the I-94 corridor here. Here's Bismarck. And now as we go all the way out to the east, here's Fargo over here. So the travel alert ends here. We have not seen any new fresh snow yet in the Fargo area, but it is down to the south. Here's where they are seeing a little bit of snow as we check a look at these road reports here. Whoops, I got I clicked on something else. Let's go out to Wishick. Wishick is looking mighty snowy out here in southeast North Dakota and south central North Dakota right now. Wow, that looks like a whiteout to me. I think the cameras are taking just a little bit of time to load. If this doesn't load, we'll do it elsewhere. But I did want to show you that these cameras, maybe it's my phone loading just a little bit low. Now we can jump in this snowplow going here right through Napoleon now. Let's go ahead and jump in that. So here you go. You got a chance look from the seat here of the plow. You can't see the road too well out there. You can see some tire tracks out there. So some thick sludgy snow as you go down to the south of Steele. and out towards the Napoleon area right now, south at 44 miles per hour. That plow is getting it done. So thanks to our DOT crews for helping us out. Now, if you want to save settings on the Minnesota side, go to the Minnesota tab here. You click on it. This is on your app. You can do the same thing on the website. And each state and province runs their site a little bit differently. But do know this. As you turn on these layers, you can go over here. But down at the bottom, I believe you can sign in to save some changes. So let's see. Oh, there's the person right there. If you do have an account with the Minnesota 511, great. If not, you scroll down the page just a little bit and add your account here. So you can sign in and go say, okay, I'm this person here. I'm going to sign in. I'm going to use my password, and I'm going to say, okay, and I'll say next. And then it loads me up. Once I'm loaded up, it should remember me if I tell it to remember me on my device here, and boom, Shazam. You turn on the layers that you want, cameras and snow plows, and at the bottom, you put that down, view the default map, or you can, at the very bottom here, I think it says make this your default. So that's what you do. There, let's go with view default map. Boom. Click that and it should save your changes. And now all of those layers that you want turned on will be there available for you. You got to put these layers away so you can see the map, and now you can start perusing. Not much going on in Minnesota yet, but that was a question that was asked. Now let's get to the forecast and the radar, shall we? Here's what's going on across our region. Let's move right on into what's going on with regards to the snow showers. Now it's starting to fill in. We're getting a report of some icing out here as we look out towards this area here. It looks like what is this? Verdon in Brown County picking up some sleet from the system. Verdon and Brown County, so that's south of Groton here. Some sleet is being reported by the public. So some freezing rain and sleet earlier in the morning, enough to make the ground white and covered. So that happened earlier in the morning, but the report just must be getting passed around. 2.3 inches of snow reported 2 miles south of Aberdeen as of 6:15, and it's snowing heavy, and there's more to come for you folks there. Roslyn seeing some snow, Hecla seeing some snow, Leola seeing some snow showers as well. This is filling in now from the system as it worked through. We talked about the upper air meteorology and the last update that we did here. What time will the snow move out of Kidder County? Well, that's going to be a while. We'll go over that hour by hour forecast here real quickly. Bismarck, we got a report in the Bismarck area from the National Weather Service here. It says 6.5 inches of snow already. Now, the leading edge of the snow is way off to the west. So you got several hours of snow left. And I do think there's a chance we're going to see these snow bands enhance just a little bit here as we go into the late night hours. So that's one Bismarck report. Looks like there's a couple here. 6.5, both are 6.5. So pretty steady amounts there with the system as it's worked its way through. So the snow is shutting off here in Dickinson. Now there is this radar no man's land out here where it doesn't get very good coverage in snow systems, but I do think that that end line to the snow is somewhere out there to the west. So keep that in mind. We got a new observation from Pollock in South Dakota. Let me get this up so you can see it too. There's another looks like 6-inch report coming in from that area. So we're starting to get a few reports going as we go through. Now, here's the layout, and then we'll get to your forecast questions real quickly as I update that. We got rain showers up on the north side of this where things are a little bit warmer. Here's the snow that's making its way through. It's all light, but now we're starting to see some of this dark blue taking hold, a couple of inches or more already in the Aberdeen area. This area right here is that lift that's starting to generate. This circle that you're seeing right here is that 700 millibar low, that mid or lower level of the atmosphere, low pressure center. And as that starts working its way through, this area and this area are going to enhance as it moves right into the FM area. So keep in mind that the heaviest of the snow is going to continue now, and it really will. We haven't gotten much of anything in the Fargo-Moorhead area as far as what's fallen out of the sky, just a few flakes. But the main event is set to get started, and it will not really be in its fullest strength until we get to about the 10 o'clock hour. Now let's address a question for your county. Now, I can tell you this, the weather balloons were launched 1 hour ago. They're reaching their heights, they're popping, and they're coming on down all over the world. And as that data comes in, boom, it gets loaded into these forecast models and they start calculating. In about 1 to 1.5 hours, we'll start to see some of these models chunking out some data for us so that we can actually have an update to the forecast. But I think we're locked in pretty good. What I'm seeing is what these models have been saying. Let's go over and take a look at that right now. So bear with me while I rock the model up here and we'll put up the forecast. We'll talk snow first, but I want to get the timing for you since that's a specific question that you had there, FJ, for Kidder County. So pardon my eyeballs while I wander through here and pick out the model forecast. And where did you go? Where are you? Okay, there we go. Okay, so now this is a look at the model. I'm going to load up one of the more recent ones, modelos. We'll take this newest model and see how long out it goes. Okay, there's Kidder County. So now look at this. This is the latest run of this model. This model updates every hour. You know my feeling on that. I don't like models that are updating in between model runs because we don't have balloon data to go in there with the upper level atmosphere, which is very, very important in forecasting this kind of a system in the springtime especially. Now, here's Kidder County right here. And so if you're in Steele, if you're in Dawson, in those areas there, that's what we're talking about. So now as we go in, Driscoll is what I meant to say too. Driscoll, Dawson, Tappan. So the snow makes its way through this latest model run here, and I'll have an update coming up. I will be the first to hit the air with what's going on with the newest model when it comes out, and I'm going to go through and pick them out here, and that's what I'll be working on over the next little bit. But I do want to tell you, the snow will be heavy at times. Where you see the gray, this is real heavy snow. So there is a chance at that Highway 2 corridor there just off near Maddock and out there in the area of Harvey in Wells County, Fessenden, you folks in New Rockford could get hit with a heavier band of snow and lift as this system works its way through. Notice Fargo still not seeing much by 8 p.m., but by the time we get to 10 p.m., it's on. And our blank in the radar map fills in. This is the system starting to work its way in. The upper level divergence that we talked about causing the lift, and this is going to fill in like a, well, it's gonna get pretty heavy at times and in places. It's not going to snow heavy everywhere. Notice this one, Fergus Falls. It's moving in towards you at 10 o'clock at night. So be where you want to be in the Red River Valley. By the time we get to 10 to 11 o'clock tonight, the snow will add up fairly quickly. In the gray areas and the dark blue, snow anywhere from 3/4 of an inch to 2 inches per hour will be possible from the storm system as it rolls through. So now you're looking at Kidder County as we go through the overnight hours. And a quick answer for you now, if I can make it quick, is let's watch Kidder County right here. Ooh, there you are. Okay, so when does it exit Kidder County? Boom, it starts slowing down and you rise and you shine at 9 a.m. Maybe you get up earlier than that on your Saturday. 10 a.m., it should be wrapping out of here. I cannot rule out one of these secondary bands setting up. The last storm did that and it dumped about 8 inches of snow up and around Thief River Falls last night. But the way it looks right now is that that storm clears and moves out of Kidder County by the time we get to about 9 a.m. So decreasing snow in the mid-morning hours for you, FJ. Now, the rest of us, I'll have to load up a model that goes out just a little bit farther than that. And for that, I have to go to the 18Z run. So here we go. Now, this model also showed that we have some drier conditions in the area right here. See this big chunk out of the storm? That's that drier, some people call it a dry slot. This is not a dry slot of air that's getting blown into the storm system. It is literally caused because the low pressure system is actually exiting off into parts of Iowa and Indiana right now at the surface. It's the upper level low back here that's causing all this snow, and that thing moves through, and when that does, this is going to fill in. So this filling in, it said would start at about 6 o'clock. Well, we're past that now. We've had a flurry or two, but the new models are showing by midnight, and many models have shown that once we get to that, well, 10 to midnight time frame, we start seeing the bands of heavy snow, heavy icing down in the South Dakota and Minnesota side. So St. Cloud, I-29 to Watertown, Huron and Point South could get some ice. Then it's Look at that. You see that blue or green stuff? That's rain. So we got some green jello down there in the Twin Cities. No accumulation of snow. Some accumulation of sleet mixing with snow from time to time here as we go through the overnight hours. And it's snowing heavy all the way from near Grand Forks and points south as we go through the overnight hours. This is the HRRRRRRR model, and it isn't funny, but this system I do think is going to be just a smidge farther south from Grand Forks. I do think Fargo has a real shot at being right in the mix with the heavy stuff, as will you be in Mayville, Hillsborough, and into Richland County. So keep that in mind. I do not think we're going to see this thing rock straight north. I think it's going to be somewhere here near Fargo and points north with the heaviest band of snow, the way the models have been shaken and baking. So that is a look at this model. It does roll through Fargo, and it doesn't end until the afternoon hours, mid-afternoon for Fargo, and then it really releases fairly quickly after that. So it does look like once it does go, there's going to be a lot of snow, but hopefully we'll have a chance to get caught up with our roads and sidewalks to allow us to get some traveling done as we go through. So that is a look at your weather. I am going to jog over to this way, and I'm going to make a pizza. In fact, I can smell it right now. And when Hutch smells pizza, I can't think straight about much else. How about you? Let me see if there's any other questions that I can confer with you about here regarding this system as it's working its way through. All right. Hey, thanks for joining me, Spark Fuzz. There's some music going on. Well, now the music is gone and Hutch is here. We answered the Kidder County question. Stephen. Okay, Stephen has some slick roads earlier today in Morris area. Haven't seen anything since. Doesn't look like we get much now. I'll pretend I'm sad about that. Okay, now let's go ahead and switch this puppy over, the forecast model, over to the snow, but you get the idea. So if you're in Morris and Benson, you are out of the warned counties and you're in the winter weather advisory. Hutch's forecast map, if you look closely at it here, shows that as we go through the storm total by Saturday night, and we're feeling all right, especially if we're in Morris or Benson, it's going to ramp down from this very heavy swath 1 to 5. Now, there has been a slow southerly trend to this model, and if that does continue, then so be it. But based on what I'm seeing on the radar, I'm not buying that. I think we're going to be in business here in the Southern Valley, in the Central Valley, and into parts of northern Minnesota tonight. So yes, I'm thinking in your Morris-Benson area, 1 to 2 inches, maybe 3. And if it does steer just a little bit south, we'll get that update for you. Join me tonight. My plan is at 9:45 to 9:55 to be back on with new updated graphics like this, the newest model that I've chosen and why, and I will answer your questions as well. Let's see, Spark Fuzz, any predictions about the amount in Fargo? I'm not going to hold you to it, Hutch. Please, I promise. Okay, here's Hutch's thought for Fargo. My thought is that the heavy band moves through the area. It's going to be very close to us. Now, we could get wide-ranging amounts with the system. We talked about that in previous updates. What does that mean? One side of Fargo can get 7 inches, and the other side could get 9 or 12. So, Hutch's forecast 5 to 10 plus. Do you see this? The Sisseton Hills has a way of drawing a little bit more out of these storm systems. So anywhere you're getting on the edge of Lake Agassiz here, that is something to behold as an area that we could have some problems with. And we're in the bowl here in Fargo of where Lake Agassiz is, and that's why this model is doing this, because with the east and southerly winds, we get that terrain enhancement of the snowfall there. However, that said, the snow machine is going to be planted right over us. So let's just call it this way. Somewhere within the 25 or 30 mile circle of Fargo, I do think we're going to see very close to that 10 inches of snow. And some of you are going to be closer to what I was saying yesterday. We'll have isolated places picking up 12 to 14 inches of snow here near Fargo. And I think we'll have a pocket of that as well moving up in the north central parts of Minnesota for you folks. So I hope you can see this, but if you're anywhere in the green circle, this is the green circle is not 1 to 5, it's 5 to 10 plus all the way through this area. The 1 to 5 is the ramping down to near nothing up north and a lot of that ramping down to the south because of more rain and freezing drizzle with the storm system there. Justice, good to have you on board. Do you think Cullum and Edgeley will get more than 10 inches plus by Saturday morning? So you're going to be really close to that right here. So what's going on in Stutsman County is you're getting some snow first and right now. So from Aberdeen through the Ellendale area and also up to your neighbors up in the Lemoore County area here at Cullum, Streeter, Gackle, these areas are going to get some snow now. The heaviest snow right now is staying along and south of the state line. But yes, I do think you have a chance at seeing that close to your area as well. I'm going to go with that 8 inches to 10 inches zone for your county there as well. So do know that there are some terrain features in the James River Valley that enhance snow in certain places and they take away from the snow totals in others. Stephen, thank you so much for the compliment. I absolutely appreciate it. And James says, give Hutch a sticker. Hey, give me a sticker, give me a like, and say, first of all, you're going to see a lot of music on the channel. And if you don't have my app yet, download Hutch's Weather app, search Hutch's Weather in the App Store today, head to my website, and if you do so there, you can go to the download Hutch's Weather app on the top line. Get the app because I'll send notifications before I'm going on. I'm leaving the live stream up so you can see the latest radar and what's going on the region. I have the forecast model going for you so you can get that. Thank you. Somebody's sharing a nice tip with Hutch. Thank you for all of your support of Hutch's Weather in any way that you do it, with stars, with stickers, sharing it, and letting people know that Hutch is here. Thank you so very much. So download the app, and you will get a notification that I send out before I go live or I come back to the room with the latest, and I will hint to what the big story is. So right now, the big story is in South Dakota. The no travel advisory has been lifted in north central parts of the state. The heaviest band of snow is going to be setting up shop here in eastern parts of North and South Dakota, particularly northern and eastern South Dakota. And it's going to head into parts of Minnesota through the overnight and into your Saturday. It lasts all the way into Sunday for the Arrowhead of Minnesota out here and off into the UP. Big time icing potential with this storm system. I would be remiss to not mention that we do have that chance of some icing now in South Dakota through morning in a few places and in southern Minnesota as well, but not as heavy there. It's going to be more rain until we get over here into Wisconsin. So basically east central Minnesota, that Hudson area, and heading out towards the areas in northern and central parts of Minnesota, or excuse me, in Wisconsin, where we had power outages with the last system. Between 1/10 and 1/2 of an inch of ice once again are in the forecast. Hi from South Carolina. I used to live in Jamestown. Katie, good to have you on board. Thank you very much. I don't know if you missed the snow and what part of South Carolina you're in, but unless you're in the mountains there, it probably doesn't snow quite as often as Jamestown, South Dakota. Judy, thank you for the updates. Happy Easter. It says here that Christy says, is it true we're supposed to get 12 inches in Breckenridge? No, I don't lock a number into any one location, but you are in the heavy zone in Breckenridge. So as we take a look at this map, there's a reason I put a range on stuff instead of put a static number on it, because across Breckenridge to Wahpeton and out to Morton, even over a few short miles, we can get vastly differing rain or snow amounts. And that's going to be the case with this system. So we're going to have some areas in and around Fargo or in and around that 30-mile radius around the Hankinson area and your area in the Breckenridge, Wahpeton area that are going to be on board for this heavier band of snow. And we're talking, yes, upwards of 8 to 12 inches. I do think there'll be pockets in here that get over a foot of snow. I do still think that's possible, particularly right here in the Red River Valley because of the lift and energy with the storm system. Thanks for your question, Christy. All right. What will be the travel tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. heading south, I-29 from Fergus Falls, or no, from Fargo to Sioux Falls? This is going to be like trying to, how you put it? If you like driving, tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. Still snowing, still blowing, still heavy. It's kind of like juggling steak knives. You know, it's going to be no fun. So if you do plan to travel, you got to have my app and check the road conditions before you go. Know before you go, just in case there are some road closures, just in case there are some no travel advisories. You can get the latest information on my app to know before you go. I never tell anybody not to drive. I never tell anybody, unless of course it's a blizzard or something. I say just stay home unless you absolutely don't have to. This is a winter storm warning. Heavy snow will be on the ground by the morning hours. And as I take a look at that 9 o'clock time frame, let me show you. I busted this up. Here's by tonight at 7 p.m. And now let's go to the morning time. Here you go, by 7 a.m. This particular model, I showed this on purpose to show there's a hole in the storm. I don't think it's going to be exactly over the Fargo-Moorhead area, but it might be. Why is it showing this, and why am I putting this out there? Because it's different, and number one. And number two, there are going to be these pockets of mist, snow areas. I want everybody to know it's not going to look like the solid pink line. We're going to have some areas that, not really get dry slotted, but really those waves of energy make their way over and set up shop. The heavy bands of snow set up shop in one place or the other. And it's not necessarily just because it's dry. It's sometimes because of that's where the lift and the energy is. So wherever that upper level low that we talked about in my last cut in exactly tracks, anywhere near there is in business for some pretty good stuff. I'm supposed to head out for Sioux Falls with a semi in the morning. When does the heavy snow start to slow down? Easy, is it Aegis? Easy Aegis. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at this. So again, this is first thing in the morning, and then here is a look at the liquid potential with this system, a ½ inch to an inch easy, ½ inch on the north side, an inch on the south side, and then we could see 1 to 2 inches of additional precipitation across eastern Minnesota and northern Wisconsin as we go through the next 24-hour period as well. But again, by the time this thing is said and done, in the morning, there may be some pockets that get missed. We'll know when you wake up in Fargo and see and check those road conditions. And it does look like you're going to be in this system with significant snow and travel impacts until you pass through about Watertown. Now, it might get substantially better in and around Watertown. And if you've driven this stretch before, you got your 70 mile or so stretch to the border, and then you're down another 70 miles, get through Sisseton and that. So you got a fair stretch of road there before you get out of it. What will travel be tomorrow morning? I-29 Sioux Falls, same thing for you, Michelle. It does look very rough in the early part, and just check those roads first thing. Hey, I'm getting hearted, and I like that. So I'm going to throw a like on these. Thank you for bringing your comments and bringing your questions to me here. Hi, Hutch. What's we're in a bit of a lull right now in Alvarado, and that's a good thing. Enjoy it while you can. Lynn, thanks for joining. Christy, good to have you on board. And it looks like I think I've caught up. We're in Kennedy, says Kay. Got to see if Kay had a question. Another great video. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, good to have you on board from Kennedy up there in Kitson County. And I will be back again. My plan is to enjoy a pizza because it's calling my name. Can you hear it? It's a pepperoni, and it's sizzling, and it's saying, Hutch, Hutch. What does travel look like in the latter part of the day? Okay, if you're in the western part of North Dakota, the western half, it's ending there now and into the overnight hours. So you're going to have almost a full night and day of the plows getting things back in shape out there. The snow will end from Bismarck and out towards the James River Valley first as we go through the mid-morning hours. So those will be a little better, and it will gradually improve, I think, from west to east. Just like the track of the storms going this way, it's going to get better this way as we go through. And then it's going to be impacting central and northeast Minnesota throughout the entirety of the day. So it just depends, Aaron, where you're watching from. So that pizza's coming out, and my plan is that at the at about 9:50 to 9:55, Hutch will be alive, and I will send a toot out on my old weather app so that you're aware of it. And I really would love to have you help me on a trip to Norway and get out of this place with all this snow and go somewhere August this coming. Oofta! You haven't heard? Hutch is heading to Norway, and I want you to join me August 16th through the 26th. We fly out to beautiful Oslo, and that's just where the fun begins. We see the mountain country, we see fjord country, and more cities along the way, and it will be one heck of a trip, but it wouldn't be the same without you. Call Brecky Tour and Travel today to reserve your spot.
See you in the chat. Keep the reports coming. Hutch is monitoring your local updates in real time. If you're seeing a change in the weather in your area, drop your city and current conditions now. You are our eyes in the field. Let's build this forecast together. Providing live coverage for the thousands of you across the northern plains is a responsibility we don't take lightly. Thank you for trusting Hutch's Weather. Grab a quick refill, take a second to share an update from your neighborhood in the chat. And we'll be right back to continue monitoring these developments together. Your safety is our mission. When storms arrive, we come live with eyes on the sky. We stand by your side. Through the ice and the snow, through the blizzard's call, Hutch's Weather, we're here for it all. Standing strong with you, no matter the storm. Anywhere, anytime, our HutchesWeather.com. You won't find any hype here, just the data, the radar, and the truth. Thank you for trusting Hutch's Weather for your severe weather updates. While Hutch resends the maps, make sure your notifications are turned on so you never miss a critical update. We're back real soon to keep monitoring the threat. Stay weather ready. You're watching Hutch's Weather live. We're taking a quick breather. While Hutch prepares the next data sweep, check in from your neck of the woods in the chat. Let us know what you're seeing out your window. It's how we stay weather aware together. Stick around. Hutch is back in a moment to take your questions and
And hello, everybody. It's meteorologist Hutch Johnson joining you at this 9:30 time frame. A couple of important updates. We have some heavy snow continuing through south central parts of North Dakota. And then we have a little gap here. And then, boom, we got another band of snow from near Harvey in Wells County straight out to Beulah Hazen. We do have some precipitation working its way up northward in the form of what looks like rain showers estimated by the radar. A little bit of that over the FM area. Just checking outside, nothing reaching the ground. Here's the heavy band that's getting set up. So I got a couple of headlines here for you. We're going to talk a little bit about some road closures, why and what's going on. No travel advisory, just hoisted the first one for the night. And a little bit of an update on the forecast. I'm hearing a few people, including a couple of questions that I'm seeing right here. I want to address those. It looks like a dry slot has entered the system. I'm not seeing that that's going to, is that going to impact it? It always does. There will be some dry slots that come in. Little notch here. This little dry slot is not a dry slot, and I explained this a little bit ago, but let's get to the headlines first. And you know what? Welcome to the channel. If you're new here, I'm meteorologist Hutch Johnson, and for the better part of 30 years, I spent broadcasting weather as a chief meteorologist here in the Northern Plains. And I'm loving to continue to do that with you and interacting with you, answering your questions and keeping you up to date and sharing a little science as well. And because of this platform, it gives me the opportunity to elaborate and answer detailed questions about the forecast. But first, let me get started with that headline. And the thing is that in North Dakota, we have a crash that was also a fire involved in that crash. And it was out in that Dickinson area and the Gladstone area. And they had to close Interstate 94 here. So you're looking at between Dickinson and the Gladstone area closed in both directions as we are, they're battling a fire out there. And here is a look very near where the crash site is. Remember, you can follow along, pick up your app right now, and you can do it with me right on the app. But this is what things are looking like out there as we head to the dark hours. So they've had to close this. There is some snow out there, but apparently a crash has happened out there on Interstate 94. And it's closed. It means you could be fined if you're caught on the road surface here. So, pass the note along, share this feed with other people so they can get this as well. As we go through, again, Interstate 94 is closed near Dickinson at the Gladstone area. There's no detour set up at this time, so there's no real alternative route there. You just want to pull off the road where you can and expect that it may take a bit of time. I do not know any more details on that other than that. The other breaking news for North Dakota is that we have no travel advisories for you folks in Mercer and Oliver counties here. No travel is advised due to the snow on all the roads there by the local sheriff's department. Here's a band of some heavy snow. Here's a look at the roads out there. This is Golden Valley area out there on Highway 200. Taking a look up at the Washburn area here, that stretch of Highway 83 has candy cane colors, and that means no travel is advised there either. Let's take you out to that Washburn area. You can see here that the snow is keeping up with and catching up and overtaking the ability to keep the road clear of snow, and that is why there's likely a no travel advisory that has been issued for that. Parts of Highway 200 here, not far from what looks like the Denhoff area, as well as up here, not too far from you folks at the bridge here at Cole Harbor. Look at this nonsense. So Highway 83 right now taking it in the chin with regards to the snowfall going on in that particular zone. Now, most of eastern North Dakota has been put in a travel alert now. We are anticipating that, yes, indeed, the snow is going to take off. I had another question from someone in a text message asking about will the snow make its way all the way up to the Canadian border? So let's address a couple of those things and go over your forecast. This is going to be a quick update. I'm still brushing up on stuff, and I plan to be back again just a little bit later before the 10 o'clock hour with the latest model data. But let's go over what's going on with your couple of questions that I addressed so far. And that is the fact that some are wondering if this dry slot is a problem and where it's a problem and what's going on with the system as we head into the nighttime hours. So right back to the radar we go. And here we go. As we take a look at the radar, we do see the bands of snow. Here's a heavy slot that's starting to form again. And again, this is something that I addressed just a little bit earlier. So let's go to the forecast model and show you the latest one on that. It should be coming in now, at least in part. Let's go ahead and take a look and see. So let's go ahead and take a look at this latest model run here. This does have the new weather balloon data in it. So this will be your first look at that. Now, as you go ahead and take a look at this, we're going to have our winds here. You're looking at a surface low pressure system that's way off to the east. Here's a pool of cold air that you're seeing with this blue circle here, by the way. Winds will be east northeasterly as it's rolling through. This is the midnight hour. So this area that we see, the notch in the storm, this is not a dry slot. This is not a dry slot. It's an upper level low pressure system. Let me show you. So it looks like a dry slot to many of us, like, oh, it's dry and it's not snowing. Nope, that's where the core of the system is. And actually, if it wasn't for this area here that you see, we wouldn't be getting this right here. So let me go back and let's go through the forecast. Now, this model, does it go up into Canada? Kirill, to answer your question, in Winkler, it does not look like a great chance of huge accumulation there. You might get a half of an inch or so. You might get an inch. I cannot rule it out, but it doesn't look like a lot for the Winkler area just north of the border. Now, as you see, there are these bands, these little blue bands that are darker. Those areas are going to be enhanced snowfall, enhanced ice as we go through the overnight, sets up shop north of the Twin Cities. It's all rain here in the Twin Cities for this period of time, and the ice moves right into northern Wisconsin again. There is an ice storm warning in those areas. No travel will be advised, so be where you want to be by about now to 11 o'clock at night, because things will deteriorate in the FM area. So if you take a look at what it looks like now on the radar, which we just looked at, well, nothing going on here, nothing to see here but a dry slot. Is this going to hit us? Absolutely. And let's go through this as we go through the overnight hours. It snows. Here's first thing in the morning. Look at how much snow is happening here. And how can that happen if the low pressure system at the surface is way off the map? What's going on to make this? It's that upper level support and upper level divergence. If you joined me earlier, we talked about that. Thanks again for joining me. Hi, Diane, or is it Diane? I'm sorry about that. Good to see you. Cloudy with no precipitation in Baudette. Michelle says, what will travel be like in the morning? 9 a.m. I-29 Fargo to Sioux Falls. It will not be good from Fargo to the South Dakota line and down in towards near Watertown. Now, let's go ahead and continue the forecast. The snow, it begins at midnight and it snows until the afternoon hours. That's over 12 hours of snow. And at least during this overnight period from, say, around midnight to 1 a.m. And then after that, all the way until the dark blue goes away, we're going to have bands of heavy snow here in the Red River Valley, and it will deliver that heavy snow. So I have pretty high confidence that we're going to see that snow. Let's go ahead and address this question about a dry slot. And let me show you what I'm talking about. This is the 700 millibar level, about 3,500 meters up off the ground. You saw where the low pressure was at the surface. It's way out here. But above our heads at 3,500 meters, this is the center of lower heights. The air here is spinning in a circle. Now, the snow bands tend to set up and track with the 700 millibar low almost exactly. We have heavy snow here, we have heavy snow here, and it's on. So now, as we put this into motion, watch the movement of that 700 millibar swirl right there. That's the center of the 700 millibar low. It moves right into Fargo's kitchen, and that means right near Fargo is going to be where that heavy band of snow is. South of it, you're going to get a lot less of the snow, but then there will be wraparound that lasts into the overnight. So as this puppy moves off to the east, that's where you're going to see this snow that's developing up here on the north side of the 700 millibar low, making its way across the region. We talked about temperatures impacting this and perfect temperatures. Let's see what the new analysis with the weather balloon sounding shows. Here's a look at let's go ahead and look at the upper air map. Pardon me, I've got to load up the right thing. So we're going to look at the 850 millibar level, and I want to see temperatures. Where are you at? Oh, let's look at this one. So here's 850 millibars, about 1,500 meters up off the ground. And this is temperature advection. I don't want to look at that. I want to look at, there we go. That's the one I'm looking for. 700 millibar temperatures. At 700 millibars, where the 700 millibar low is, the white colors you see here, that's the perfect temperature for fast growing snow. It's right about 10 degrees below Celsius. So as that low pressure center moves right near Fargo here, we're right in this zone where the snowflakes in the clouds are at that perfect temperature for explosive dendrite growth. And that's going to be happening right over this area near the 700 millibar low. It's almost a perfect setup for heavy snow, folks. And it continues off into Minnesota. Then once the north wind comes making its way through at the surface, we'll start seeing some things drying up to the north. Now the 850 millibar level and temperature that we're looking for is about -3 to -5. And in that zone, it's right here. Let's go ahead and take a look at where this is. Yeah, so we're looking at these temperatures here that are in the first state of blue. So those are perfect temperatures at that slightly lower level for explosive snowflake growing. So basically, we have both levels in this mid and lower levels of the atmosphere here that are working with us. And when we look up here a little higher, 5,500 meters above the ground, this is the 500 millibar level. And here's our low pressure system closed off. This is ridiculousness. And as we go through the midnight hour, when the snow really is expected to be enhanced in Fargo, this is not the dry slot. This is the upper level winds going backwards up against the jet stream flow this way, while these winds are just rocking your socks off going this way. This is a diverging traffic pattern. If you're looking at traffic patterns, this fluid is moving this way, this fluid's going the other way, and right here where the fluids are diverging, we get enhanced lift. That's what's going to make the snow. So unless the air moving in is indeed dry, then we would have a problem. But I don't think that we are that dry. Now, I don't see a, I'm looking for another upper level dynamic plot here of some moisture, but I don't see that on this particular model. So I'll go to another one. Why not? What gives here, Mr. Johnson? Let's take a look at this one. Okay, so now we're looking at a different model. I'm looking for my upper level temperatures. Not on that one. And I'm also looking for moisture. So regardless, the point is that as we go through the overnight hours, it's this upper level support that causes diverging air above us. That creates almost like a vacuum. Fewer air molecules above us causes an increase in the rising motion, which is what we want to have happen. So that's what we're putting together with this storm system. And yes, there is a chance for some snow. So the headlines here are a couple. Number one, no travel advisories in North Dakota and in South Dakota. Right quick, we'll go ahead and take a look at that. I do want to share with you that we had a no travel advisory earlier that has been dropped, but the snow is now moving off into northeast parts of the state. So the eastern Dakotas are going to be where the very heavy bands are going to be continuing as we go through. And it says here, good evening, Hutch. Big flakes coming down in the FM. Oofda. I'm a-looking. Okay. It's so dark outside. I got to get the old flashlight out and see. Okay, so we do have areas of complete snow-covered roads in north central parts of South Dakota. Could be a little ice yet down towards Watertown, but that's also moving in toward the Twin Cities once again as well. So a quick look at those Minnesota roads real quickly out toward the Twin Cities. Are we seeing some icing problems there? No, everything's green right now, which means seasonal travel conditions, and that's a look at that. Here's one more thing that I got to tell you. We got a new snowfall report. So you saw Hutch's graphic yesterday, 7 to 14. Are we getting 14? I can't tell you how many times I've been asked, will we see 14 inches of snow? Will we see 14 inches of snow? A lot of people are asking. Here's a look at the snowfall report so far. This snowstorm was rocking and rolling throughout the day today in parts of South Dakota and out in Montana. So let's look at South Dakota. Oh, I see it. Lemon, South Dakota. 13 inches of fluffy goodness taking place right there. Another report, 11 inches just outside of the Black Hills here as we go through, I can't read that one, Stonyville. Then as we look down here, numerous reports of 8 inches of snow. But the bottom line is we've got a couple of 10 to 13 inch reports starting to pop up. Southeast Montana, 13 inches in the mountains of Wyoming. That's because there are mountains there, right? By Sheridan, 30 inches of snow. This system has plenty of moisture to work with, plenty of lift, and it's on its way to the valley. And Hutch's forecast here will give you a hint. And then we'll take a look at your questions. I don't see any more. Hi, Brenda. Good to see you. Diane, precipitation in Badette, nothing yet. Thanks for the update. Let's go ahead and take a look. We did the forecast. I'm sorry, I'm adjusting my eyeballs to the screen. Here we go. Okay, so here's what I want to show you. I'm going live here in just a little bit. Again, we're going to drop off here for just a second. I've got a couple more graphics to get ready for you. The bottom line is this. I send notifications on Hutch's Weather app right here to let you know what's going on. And if you take a look at this one at the top, there's 5 notifications from my app. My app will send you a notification if snow is approaching your area. And it says right here, snow is approaching Watertown, South Dakota. I have Watertown as one of the towns that I watch. Keep that in mind. So, and then when I have an update like right now, an important road update, I send a notification to the app. So please take a minute, search Hutch's Weather in the App Store, and we'll keep you apprised of all the information that you need moving forward. And then you will know right away when I'm going live on the platforms here. You can even watch me on the phone inside the app. Open that puppy up. You're going to see this puppy open up here. Go to this tab at the top for the latest. Boom, I'm live. What do you want to watch me live? Would you? Well, let's see what happens. Woo, there we go. Hey, those are weather kids. If you want to learn how to sign up, you just watch this, and then on the end side, we're doing good. Okay, I do have a question. I don't know if I got in time, but do you know the snow plows from Grand Forks, North Dakota? Saul, good to see you. I have to go, but I am coming right back at 9:55. I've got to finish 2 things I've been working on, but I had some very important weather information to pass along in North Dakota about some closed roads. So with that, and with the app, download the app and join me here in just a few moments as we will conclude a complete look at the forecast, the snowfall forecast, and what you can expect from the storm as you rise and shine in the morning. Right here, you are watching Hutch's Weather. I shall be back soon.
You're watching Hutch's Weather live. We're taking a quick breather. While Hutch prepares the next data sweep, check in from your neck of the wood up. It helps the system.
All right, everybody, meteorologist Hutch Johnson joining you, and I got to tell you what, our storm system is continuing to rumble with thunder out to the east, Minneapolis, down into eastern parts of Iowa. Strong storms there, very heavy rain causing flash flooding, snow winding its way through the I-94 corridor. Now the heaviest batch of snow is just setting up shop, and it will last all night and into the morning hours tomorrow and the midday hours for many, and even all the way into the evening hours for parts of eastern Minnesota. We're going to talk all about everything. We're going to answer all of your questions here. Thank you for joining me. And if you're new to the channel, I'm meteorologist Hutch Johnson, and for the better part of 30 years, I've been covering weather like this in the Northern Plains. And I'm here to help you on this two-way street. You can ask questions. I'd really appreciate if you like the video to hit the like button. Make sure you drop a comment letting me know where you're watching from. And while you're at it, please hit the subscribe button as well. Let's talk about it. First and foremost, I want to get right to the action. We have a lot changing right now. We're going to go right to your forecast. The latest forecast model. Let's go over it real quickly. Now, this is a high-resolution model. There are the longer-range models that'll be coming in a little bit later, but this one seems to be on it. And I do think we got a pretty good grasp of the atmosphere here and what's going on. Again, this is coming from the new weather balloon sounding data. So let's get to it and let's go through the details on the step-by-step forecast here as we go through. I'll try to address every location, but if your location hasn't been addressed, then make sure you let me know. Not much going on in the valley right now. I did hear that there's some big flakes starting to fly in Fargo, and here's why. As this storm system hits the 10 to 11 o'clock hour here, we're going to start seeing that batch of snow work its way right into southeast North Dakota and into the southern valley. Now, this up here on the north side, will it make its way into Canada? It doesn't look like it. We do have our winds from the east and a little bit more, really light winds up here in Canada. So there's drier air up there, no problem with that. So that's going to cut down your shovel trouble in your area. This band of snow stretches from Fargo, and you notice this shape like this. It's exactly following this divergent pattern in the upper level winds that we've been talking about tonight on Hutch's Weather. If you missed it, I'll go over it again later. But for now, suffice it to say, you want to be where you're going to be in the Red River Valley by the time we approach the next hour or so. The snow will fly. Now, the low pressure center at the surface is over here where we have thunderstorms, and we already have the icing showing up on the radar moving north of the cities. That should be heading up toward Duluth by the time we head to bed tonight. And it does look like we're going to have that ice spreading across northwest Wisconsin. That's where it's an ice storm warning there. Winter storm warnings continue. Is the track of the storm the same as it looked? Yes. Now, look at the heavier bands of snow. It's not in South Dakota yet, but it does return. As this low pressure center at the surface moves out, there's an upper level low that will be making its way through right here. You can actually see the carve out of it. Not necessarily a dry slot here, folks. This is what's going to create some of that lift in the atmosphere at the surface right here, and that's what's going to make our snowflakes. So we have the perfect temperatures above us tonight to make fast snowflakes, and that perfect temperature regime and this slow lollygagging moving upper level low will be making its way through, making the conditions exactly perfect for what we have going on here. Do notice this though, we're going to have these little splotches in dark blue. That's heavier snow. And if those move over your town, you're going to get a quick burst of an inch of snow in an hour if it sets up over your area, passing over your area for an hour. Check it out. We got these blue splotches here, 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 here. And then it's interspersed with light blue, which is lighter snow. So we're going to have periods of heavy snow, but it does look like some of this entire area right here, I'll call this the zipper, where it's unzipping. We're going to see in this zone very heavy snow continuing into the overnight hours. Now, things are wrapping up out in Gladstone area. We just cut in here just a minute ago to the live stream to let you know there is a closure of Interstate 94 out by the Dickinson area due to a crash and a fire out there. I-94 is closed. You're going to get fined if you're traveling on the interstate out there, and there's no detour set up at the Gladstone area just outside of Dickinson through the Dickinson area. So do not try to drive that way. They're trying to get that cleaned up, and a couple no travel advisories as well. Here we're going towards daybreak now. We're looking at about 3 to 4 a.m. and that snow is still heavy in the valley. So it starts about now. It's around that 10 o'clock hour, and it lasts through the overnight. And look at now, it's lollygagging back, and we're going to get the wraparound snow that trails back down into South Dakota and along the North Dakota-South Dakota border. So heavy snow right here in this zone will last for the next several hours, and it continues into 7, 8, 9 in the morning, 10 in the morning, noon in the morning. Then when we get into the afternoon, it's still snowing and blowing here. There will be as the upper level low, okay, makes its way out of here, right here, it's moving out of here. As it moves, so will this heavier band of snow. We'll also, once our winds turn northerly here at the surface, it looks like we'll get some dry air cutting in, and that will cut off, making it harder for those snowflakes to make their way all the way down to the ground. Sometimes, though, just like set up last night into this morning on our Friday morning, we had a batch of snow set up in the overnight hours when it really wasn't expected to. That was a band of snow, and boom, it shackalacked all night, and it slapped Thief River Falls with a good 8 inches of snow. So you get one of those stubborn bands setting up over you. That can happen. That's why Hutch is here looking at the radar, reading it in real time, trying to see if these models are out to lunch or if they're really here for serious business. I think we're here for serious business. So here's this model carrying it out through. If you happen to be in the Brainerd Lakes area and also Lake of the Woods, all the way down towards Bemidji, Brainerd, down in towards the eastern reaches of Otter Tail and Becker counties, Hubbard counties included, it's snowing all the way to the evening. We're talking 4 or 5 p.m. It's still snowing, and then finally it starts to exit. There will be some isolated areas here that we get gusts over 30 miles per hour, but our winds will be decreasing as we go through the afternoon and evening hours across the Dakotas and the Red River Valley. There's a weather wiggle making its way through, another squirt of snow heading in as we go into your Easter Sunday, celebrating the rising of Christ on that beautiful day. And it does look like we will have much better travel conditions. So here's the skinny on travel. Let's back this up just a bit. As you go through Saturday, in the western part of North Dakota, you wake up in Bismarck and points west at 7 a.m. and the snow is exiting Bismarck-Mandan. And it has exited the western part of the Dakotas. So you'll have a nice amount of time to recovery as long as the plows can get out and clear those roads. So I think the travel out by the late morning hours will begin its improvement out in the western Dakotas, and the north central part of the state not picking up as much snow. We'll get to your snow forecast here briefly. Boom, it's out of here, clearing out the Red River Valley and westernmost valley counties of Minnesota as well by the time we go through about 4 to 5 o'clock. So we could still have some flurries out here, still tough travel. So a lot of you have been asking, Hutch, when can I drive? The short answer is I simply do not know. I do not know if we'll have closed roads. I don't know if we'll have no travel advisories, but what I do know is we'll have bands of heavy snow. And even with the snow just ending, that doesn't mean the roads are going to be in real easy passable conditions. That's why I want you to download my weather app when we're done here. Head over to my website, hutchesweather.com, and you can go ahead and download it there. And if you have it, join along with me and you can keep up to date with what's going on as far as our road conditions go. Let's go to the snowfall forecast now. Fresh information. We're looking at a hot model together, all together now. Now, what makes snowfall very, very, very difficult to forecast, let's just run this by you. It's already fallen out here. We've got our 13 inches. Now, as we move into the next 24 hours, we're focusing out here. Eastern North Dakota, eastern and northern South Dakota, and northern Minnesota. So not as much of a southern dip in the storm once you get out here into the Red River Valley. It's right on the money. Fargo sits right in the middle of this. So even if it shifts 50 miles north or 50 miles south, we're getting it. We are in the zone of that 5 to 10 inches of snow. And there will be pockets with even more, I'm convinced, than that. So as we go through this next range of time now, between now and Sunday morning, it says Monday, but it's Sunday morning, this snow should be wrapping up out here. We're going to have a fairly healthy band, not a solid band. There will be pockets of dry and trained air, but suffice it to say, if you are anywhere in southeast North Dakota, along and south of Highway 2, along and south of Highway 200, this does include some parts of Highway 200 here, all the way out towards Carrington, as well as you folks in Mayville. Look at that. We're talking 5 or 7 to 10 inches of snow and pockets of 10 plus. And that's how I see it. Now, if you're in Breckenridge, Wahpeton, you're going to get snow. This blue line that you see here, where it just starts going from pink to blue, that's going to be your 1 to 5 line very quickly. See how quickly we go from zilch to 7 inches of snow? So that's a 1 to 5 zone in the blue, 1 to 5. And there'll be pockets, I'm telling you, there's going to be pockets even in here that get very little. That's the way snow is, but this is something that's going to go. Hey, thanks, Doug, for the update. Flurries going on right now in EGF, East Grand Forks. So a lot of dry air moved in, says David. Snow totals are going to drop somewhere between 3 to 6 or 4 to 8, I bet. I am going to, you know what? There's going to be pockets of that, David, but I disagree. I think we are on track for heavy snow. Confirmed 13 inches right here in South Dakota. The dry air did not come in. It did not get in train. There is a bubble of what looks like dry air. That is the upper level low moving through. And as it sets up shop here, we're going to be in business for some much and very significant precipitation. And in fact, it's going to enhance the lift, which will draw every snowflake out of the sky. Here's what we can do together right now. We're going to compare models. Okay, so we've looked at the snowfall forecast. Now let's compare models. And this is something you don't see a lot of people do. And some people say, hey, Hutch, just pick one and tell me what the weather's going to be. I am. But this is changing in real time. And what we're doing is I'm picking the best model available. And we're going to go over the comparison to just see, because if there is indeed dry air to worry about, there's going to be some of these models that drop us to 2 or 3 inches of snow in all likelihood. So now let's go to it. Let's see what we got here. Now, as we compare these models here, we're going to go ahead and open this up so I can see and make sure I set this up right. Now, I want this to be snowfall by the time we get to Easter morning. Okay, here we go. So this gets everything out. Now let's take a look at the snowfall rates we got here. Okay, so this is a comparison of different models, and I need to go to the most recent one in, because not all of these models have come in with the most recent model run. Just a couple are in. Okay, here we go. So the weather balloons went up in the atmosphere at 7 o'clock. It took an hour to get to the top of the atmosphere. Boom, they pop, and now we start the models. And there's a few of these shorter term models that go out 48 hours that are done. So we're going to compare those. Here is a look at the snow total. Yep, okay, this is correct. And oh, that's for Saturday. My mistake. I got to get out just a little bit farther. Okay. My apologies. Okay, so now we're looking at the Sunday morning time frame. Let's go just a little bit further. Okay. All right, so this is valid Sunday morning. So here is a look at the models, and we'll compare them. Here's the HRRR. This is the one we just looked at, and it's carrying the snow up here into the arrowhead. We see no real degradation of the snowfall potential. It still looks like a solid maybe 6 to 10 inches of snow, 7 to 10 inches, but we're in the ballpark there. Similar location to this. It does shift it just a little bit farther to the north. It dips it a little farther to the south, and look at the Fargo area. Pardon me. This model is one that has done the best, in Hutch's humble opinion, over the last 2 storms. So I like this model. We'll see. This one's popping 10 inches in Fargo. That puts us in the window of 6 to 10 plus that I've been saying now. And as we look at another model, it's doing pretty good. There are some lower amounts down here. I could buy that, but I do think we'll see an enhancement of some of the snowfall out there, out to the west, once that upper level low moves over here and taps into some more moisture. But all of that said, we do have a pretty good swath, again, of 6 to 10 inches of snow. This one does carry south into southern Otter Tail County. If you're in the Grant County area, Douglas County area, you're going to be in that 1 to 5, where it quickly ramps down to very little. There'll be some areas of some icing in Minnesota as well. Now let's look at another forecast model, and here is another one. Very, very similar. A very heavy swath making its way through Lakes Country, Becker and Otter Tail County. The point is this. I use a range of forecast numbers, 6 to 12 inches, for a reason. Most of us will see 6 to 7. A few isolated spots will be in that 8 to 10 category, and very few spots will be in the 10 plus. That's what I mean by that range. So I just want to be clear. There will be pockets in here, though, that get your 3 inches or less, and that's what that's why, David, I don't say you're wrong. Nobody can say you're wrong. I think you're right. It's just a matter of where you're looking at. There's going to be pretty heavy snow with this system, and that's what we want to let people know. Now, this model is the only one that shows a drift just to the north of the whole system here, but it still keeps Fargo in that window because we are smack dab in the middle of the track of the heaviest expected snow. Even a shift of 50 to 75 miles northward with the track leaves Fargo in the mix. This one puts Grand Forks more into the mix. Do I think this one is more onto something? Nope, I don't. I think that the other models have done a good job, but they're very close. If you see, we're looking at a distance of about 20 miles difference. So here's another one. This one is looking through. It's a high resolution North American model, and then I will go take a look at another one, even higher resolution. This one is in training a little dry air, David. So as you take a look at this, there's some coming in here. There's some coming in here. I do think we're going to see some pockets like that. So there's some reality to it. What I can tell you is, it's very difficult to tell if it's going to be right here or not, or is going to shift this way 20, 30, 40 miles. So that's why I don't like putting a specific number on a specific town ever, because even across Fargo with the aerial spread and expanse of the city, we can see various snowfall totals. And here is the last model I have access to right now, just so you can see. Almost all of them look similar. I'm very confident in the forecast. Thank you very much for your participation. Elise says, best time to get out of the house tomorrow without getting into too much trouble. Well, Elise, you don't get in trouble, so don't worry about it. You just get out there and have fun. Just don't drive in this stuff. Now, let's take a look at what we're expecting with regards to the system. And I do want to point out once again, because I can, and because it's fun, and because it's meteorology. David, are you still with me? If you are, I want to see thumbs up. I want to see some likes in the video. If you're here watching Hutch's Weather, thank you for everything that you all do. And thanks for being a part of all of these broadcasts for the day today. I want to let you know, I will be here first thing in the morning, and I'm not going to stay up overnight to watch snowflakes and count them, but I will be back up first thing in the morning. We need you to have Hutch's Weather app and download that weather app so you can get the latest road reports first thing in the morning, and I'll be here to keep you up to date. But let's go ahead and take a look at a couple of other things with regards to the storm. Here is that forecast graphic, and I wanted to go over those too because we made these for you. That's what I've been busy working on tonight, along with a piece of pizza or two. Your snow forecast we'll get to in just a second, but the morning, it looks like we'll have definitely snow on the ground in Fargo, Moorhead, the Red River Valley, and western Minnesota. It will be snowing up north as well, but the amounts accumulated up there by morning hours won't be the full Monty until we get to the latter part of the day. Temperatures near freezing here. Notice there's warmer pockets up north because of the wind coming in from that southeast direction up there, because of the fact that there was a little less snow on the ground from round one. East-northeast winds at 15 to 35 miles per hour. Again, east-northeast winds. It'll be more northerly out here, and that means you're dry. You're done. The snow is done in Dickinson, done in Minot, done in Bismarck. And even in the, let's go with Kidder County area, it won't be long in the morning before you're done. We answered that for Kirill a while ago. Mix has returned to Perham. Caleb, thank you so very much for your input in that. We'll get back to that radar and confirm that as well. So here's a close look at the hometown forecast. If you're in Grand Forks, if you're in Fargo, we're going to be right near that 31, 32 degrees. Heavy snow moving here and off to the east. Out to the west, decreasing clouds, decreasing snow. There will still be some in the James and Cheyenne River Valley as we go into the very early morning hours, but it'll be clearing out as we go into the mid-morning hours as well. Minneapolis, St. Paul, the rain showers moving out down to the south, and we will have ice aplenty, northern parts of Wisconsin and the the UP of Michigan, where there's an ice storm warning once again. Heavy snow making its way through parts of the region there out to the west. I expect to start warming things up in northeast Montana. They did not get a lot of snow there. A good chance to warm up in places like Poplar, Wolf Point, and a little bit more snow though as we get out to the wests, and that's going to keep temperatures just a bit colder there as we head into your afternoon. Look at the heat is on there for Saturday. Out in parts of Montana, we'll be melting snow fairly quickly. We'll have a northeast wind at 25 in the morning, decreasing to 12, 25 to 12. We'll have very light winds out to the far west as it looks like a lot quieter. And the afternoon snow by 4 in the afternoon, as this comes into focus here, I think we'll be done with snow in Fargo and Grand Forks for the most part. It will be mainly a northern Minnesota event moving out toward the Arrowhead of Minnesota, dipping down into parts near the cities. You will get a chance at some snow in the afternoon and early evening time as your wind becomes northerly and you cool off as well. Thank you for the hearts and the stars. You guys are the most goodest. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate that. It helps get the message out to others. So again, a closer look. Temperatures are going to be 35 35 to 40 degrees tomorrow, maybe a little warmer in Grand Forks, but not all that much as we go into the afternoon hours. Once the snow stops at around the early afternoon time frame, we'll have a chance to just get an eke of warmer weather and a decrease in those conditions outside as far as the snow goes. David, thank you much. And thank you for your forecasting. I'm not knocking you. I'm just trying to share you what my thought is. I respect your opinion and I respect your thoughts too, because it's a good one. It happens a lot with these storms. Hey, we got some big time weather making its way through Saturday. We will have a burp of some snowflakes with a little weather wiggle wobbling through on your Easter Sunday. May you and your family enjoy each other's company as many Christians celebrate the resurrection of Jesus. So thank you so much for making me a part of your day. I hope you get a chance to get out with your families. Check the road conditions. I'll be here to keep you updated as well. And then you get to make the call on what it is you're going to do for your holiday, whether you want to travel in this or not. Every one of us has a different threshold of that. Now we get mighty cold as cold high pressure moseys into the valley. We are 15 degrees or more below our average for the morning temperature. And then is it a heat wave? No, it ain't no heat wave. It's a slow return to below average conditions all the way through the 10th of the month. Now, there were some signs that we were going to see some more snow potential as we went through the 11th and the 12th. So we'll check that real quick with you while you're on board here. Here's a look at the most recent European model. And I do want to say that the signals that were showing up on this one, that storm later on in the month as we approach the middle of the month, are still there. Here it is as we go through the 8th, 9th, 10th. This one moves through parts of southern Manitoba, moving into, you folks in Thunder Bay, getting a chance for some snow out there as that moves through. Cold air will return, and that's why we have a hard time warming up. Now, here's a Colorado low. Where's it going to track, though? This model only goes out so far, but it does look like we will have that chance as we go into the 9th and the 10th at seeing some more unsettled weather here in the region. The American model also has shown signs of this as well as we get a little more quickly out to it. Here it is, releasing out of the Rocky Mountains on the 9th of the month, and boom, shadizzle, that one moves out into the Central Plains, and we do have unsettled weather making its way in. Look at the date there. Midnight on the 10th, it looks like snow. If you happen to be outside walking the llama, you could have to get the snow boots on your llama. I don't know, we'll see. That's a long ways out. So I'm telling you what, that gets us into the 10th of the month, and as we continue through, it does look like we stay fairly unsettled, but here it is. See all these red lines? Finally, as we cross toward the 15th of the month, a chance to warm up a bit, bringing that snow boundary with the cold air way up into central parts of the prairie provinces of Canada there as we go through. Cold high pressure moves down as we go into the 15th again, but we're right back to warm weather. Notice the track difference with these storm systems now moving through central Canada as opposed to all of them coming down through the Rockies. You know what? The whole month of April, all the way through the 19th or 20th, though, does show at least a weekly chance of some excellent weather patterns that will keep Hutch busy and in trouble as opposed to out of trouble. Why did my banner on my graphic go so wacky there? I'm just looking at that. Okay, we'll worry about that later. How about that? I like to fix things when I see them. Otherwise, I'll forget. You guys are the best. I see hearts and likes going. Thanks for liking the video. Rita, thank you so much for your well wishes there. And thank you for your stars, David. I appreciate you very much. Tyler as well. Thank you for all the stars that you've given. Now, let's see. Do we have any questions? If not, here is a quick look and a review, because I want you to know that I'll be here first thing in the morning, and the radar is doing this right now. We're going to stop this from playing. We'll show you. Grand Forks, it says raining. I heard from you. You told me flurries, so that's good to know. We got Larimore out here with some snow showers, and here comes the main event. It's this little swath that's moving in through Gwinner, Oaks, and Lemoore right now, and it's that swath that's going to work its way in. Notice that that heavier band of snow only makes its way up to Interstate 94. So, David, unless this system, if it wasn't going to move more diagonally through that upper low like it's showing it will, then, because it looks like this is going to traverse straight off to the east, but I don't think so. I think because of the upper level low moving in that general direction, that's kind of where we're going to see this low set up. And we are seeing that we got a nice, decent band of snow making its way in right here. And that is the one that's going to provide us with the chance of snow. Is this air going into the system humid enough to keep things fired up all night? That's a really good question. And I'm trusting that the models have a good look at that as we take one more peek at some stuff here. Moving through Rochester, heavy rain. Flash flood warning, Decorah, Iowa through near La Crosse, Wisconsin, from thunderstorms producing 1 to 4 inches of very heavy rain out there. So that's a problem there. We've got Wausau ice again making its way up towards Rhinelander as some snow. Heavy snow. Spooner on the way to Park Falls as well. This band of heavy snow is also associated with a pretty thick ice. And then this moves northward now. The snow does. And that means the rain will move over the snow, making a slush mix for this system. And until your wind becomes northerly out there, you're going to have all kinds of different precipitation rocking through the area. Here's the Twin Cities, the Brainerd Lakes area. We're seeing the edge of the main surface low pressure system on the backside, causing some snow showers for you. Thanks so much, Northern Grace. Ethan, it's good to see you. I hope you're doing well. Thank you. Justice, looks like calm and edgely and heavy snow all night and morning and windy. So if we take a look now, I want to also make sure that we're looking at these road conditions, because it's oftentimes I'll just say this. As we go to bed tonight, right now we see these purple counties across North Dakota. The purple counties generally mean that we have a travel alert. That means you can drive, but it's not no travel advisory. There is a no travel advisory here for Mercer County and for Oliver County. So from Center to Beulah to Hazen, you have no travel advised in these areas. This is what the roads look like out there. If they're lit enough, we'll be able to see. Yes. Sideways snowflakes and just cement on the roads. You can't even see the lines on the roads there. It's completely covered. Sometimes, not all the time. I can't predict this because I don't do plowing, because the ones that do have been working 12-hour shifts around the clock to keep these roads open. I can tell you this much. At night, if it gets windy and the plows can't keep up, it's not uncommon for North Dakota to close the plows and then put no travel advisories up there, because some of these roads could get pretty heavy snow on it. But it's dangerous for the snowplow drivers, just like it's dangerous for us. So Highway 83 has no travel advisories as you go up into that area near the Cole Harbor area and on up north toward the Lake Sakakawea Bridge here, which is the Cole Harbor area. Is that a car? No. Look at that road. You can see how deep the snow is on the tracks there. That's some significant snow falling there. You get up to Minot on the south side, it looks like they're starting to get a little bit of flakiness showing up in the Minot zone, and that's it. This event is mainly going to stay to your south as that low wraps its way through. What I want you to do, though, is go to Hutch's Weather app, hit the OK Tire Road Reports page, and you can look at this yourself and make sure that it's all set up. Kirill, I think was it you or was it Psalm? So I'm wondering how to keep the view with the cameras and the plows and then save it, but it doesn't stay saved. Okay, I did see your note, and I'm not sure why. I've done this on this one here online, and it remembers it. I've also done it on my app on the cell phone, and it remembers it. Why don't you go ahead and keep in touch with me, Psalm, and I'll continue to work with you on trying to find a solution for you. I don't know if your phone, if it's a phone thing. I don't know if it's that every time we start our phone up, it won't remember it. But like if I close this scene down and go to Montana, and then I come back to North Dakota here, it reopens it, and these puppies stay up. So, and I have had some good luck on my phone as well with that. So thank you very much. So road conditions in North Dakota look like that. Here is a look at the South Dakota roads. We'll go ahead and show you the zoomed up view of this one as basically the northern and eastern part of South Dakota into north central South Dakota has white dashed roads. The key says to me that is scattered snow and slush across the road surface. As we go into that Ellendale area in Ellendale, North Dakota, big time flakes flying through the air right here. This is north of Frederick. So that's what the roads are looking like in that zone in all directions. And now we can see the road surface there is completely covered with snow. And if you see this one, it's a really deep looking ridge there on that side of the road. So definitely some big time snow accumulating on the road surface there as we look in on the area of Frederick, South Dakota. Okay, now as we take a look elsewhere, going in towards Sisseton, that heavy band is just now setting up shop there. We can still see the lanes on Interstate 29 there. That's the good news. The bad news is Well, that snow could continue all the way into tomorrow now, so it's just really getting ripping there. Now, as we go back to the North Dakota roads, I do want to point out that Grand Forks is getting a report of just a little bit of flakiness starting to enter into town. Here's the south side, and maybe a flurry or two showing up there, but definitely not quite the main event yet. I think as we cross into the midnight hour, that will be the case. So make sure that you're checking the app twice. Make sure you're checking that for details on what's going on, and you get to make the decision then on road conditions, and I will be here in the morning to keep you updated. Some new reports coming in here from snowfall from this system. As we look into the Bismarck-Mandan area here, I'm seeing 6.5 inches of snow and still snowing in and around Bismarck. As we take a look south of the border, here is McLaughlin. Excuse me, that is, yeah, near McLaughlin. We're talking Malo here, about 8.2 inches of snow for that area. Now, as you go out towards Lemon, South Dakota, 13 inches of ridiculousness there. So that's just near the Hettinger area in North Dakota. So big time snow there, 5 inches reported out here in Lodgepole. And then you get down near the I-90 corridor, and we got numerous reports of 7 to 11 inches here, 11 inches in Stoneville, 8 inches in Elm Springs, and 7 inches in Elm Springs to the south of Elm Springs. So big time snow in Montana. They'll take it 18 inches out there in Will Sail. All right, that's some good snow there. And a lot of the snow reports that you see out in Minnesota were what happened this morning across that neck of the woods. So big time snow there, a big time look there. And one more thing I wanted to share with you, David, if you're still on with me, I got something for you. Here is some extra credit meteorology. Hutch taught college level meteorology classes for the better part of 17 years. And as a college adjunct professor of meteorology, it is an awesome thing to talk about the science of meteorology and try to bring it into the terms that we all can understand. And it's how I learned the science. Let's go to something here, and we're going to look at a regional map. And we're going to go ahead and take a look at some upper air stuff here. And now what you're looking at is the surface and the surface low. The surface low pressure center is, or was, in Iowa. Why are we getting snow if we're that far away from the surface low? Well, there's some things going on in the upper levels of the atmosphere that are driving this. This looks like a big dry slot. This looks like a big dry slot. And there may be dry air entraining into the system here. But what I do want to point out is that when we look at the upper air maps, the ones that the weather balloons help us fill out the data on, we're going to look at the 500 millibar level. That's about halfway through the atmosphere pressure-wise. And this little circle here is a 500 millibar low, and we have wind halfway through the atmosphere. Our winds are usually west to east. That's the jet stream flow. These are moving east to west on the north side. So what we have here, if you think of the little air molecules that are wind blowing this way, that traffic's going to the west. Over here, not too far away, we have traffic that's moving more in an easterly direction. So right here, we have air in the mid-levels of the atmosphere diverging away. When that vacates the area over the top of Fargo, Moorhead, Aberdeen, and Lakes country, it makes not a vacuum, but it does create lift. Air below it goes up and starts lifting to replace that air that's diverging above us. And this can be even stronger if the winds are stronger, which they are here in the purple colors, and at even higher levels in the atmosphere, that at the jet stream level, this can really drive what we call divergence. And look at this, even at the uppermost levels of the atmosphere, way up there where the jets fly at about 30,000 feet, this air is turning back and going to the west. Very unusual. Happens sometimes, but it is unusual. So because we have that, we have this zone here where we've got diverging air very rapidly across our area. And because of that, and because of a few other things that go on at the jet stream level here that cause some enhanced spin, we're going to have that perfect amount of lift moving over us. But if you lift dry air, to your point, then it ain't going to matter because dry air doesn't saturate. So this particular model isn't going to be too friendly with Hutch to allow me to take a look at the upper level. Let me see this one. This one might do it. Upper air moisture is what I want to look at. So now you're looking at all this divergence I was talking about. Now let's take a look at the moisture in the atmosphere. So here's 850 millibar dew points, and this would be like what we would call in meteorology in the summer a low-level jet. If we get moist air from the south, moist air on this map will show up as green. So here we have relative humidities that are fairly high. As we take a look, dew point temperatures are around 13 degrees C. So this is a nice moist pool of air working its way in this way. This doesn't mean that it's bone dry air in our neck of the woods whatsoever. And now when we go up just a little bit, well, here's lower still. This is like this is the air that's feeding those thunderstorms down there in the south. So those can and sometimes do rob us of some moisture. So there is a possibility of that. Now we're going to go to the 700 millibar relative humidity. And when we take a look at that, here we have a little dry spot right here, but this is in southern South Dakota. Here's the moist air fueling the system. So we do have some pretty humid air here at 97% humidity working its way up and into this side of the low pressure system at 700 millibars. And that's going to be the fuel that allows the snowflakes to form. If this dry air gets sucked into the system, well, that would be a problem. But let's go ahead and put this into motion. What happens to that dry air? It stays south. So I do think that we're looking pretty good. The models have a grasp on this. That kind of does entrain that dry air and keep it into southern South Dakota. That's good news for places like Sioux Falls. But we do have some dry air coming in from the south that's going to dry things up a bit into southern Minnesota and push that moist air up to the north. So that's the dynamics of the system, and this is what you would be looking for to see one of these dry slot things coming in, and sometimes you can see them on different satellite views as well. I hope that was helpful. Thank you so very, very much for everything. Hutch, it's snowing in Grand Forks now. Pardon me while I take a look outside because I want to see in the street light here, so I'm going to walk away and open a window and see what I can see. And in the FM area, yeah, we do have some snow here. It's definitely not the big dendrites or the big flakes yet that I'm expecting to transpire with the system, but we do have the onset of some snowfall here in the Fargo area. Now, as we take a look at that radar here, you can see that we will have the snow potential working its way through from the southeast. So as we look at the main event right back down to the south of us, we're just getting this little nugget right here. Once this batch moves over us, it kind of sits over us for a little while on those models that we were looking at. So that is it. Hutch, snow in Grand Forks, just a little rain and sleet in the Twin Cities. Hey, thanks, Peach Creek Media. Good to see you on board, and thank you very much for your update from the Twin Cities. Looks like some of the heaviest of the rain has moved out of your area here. So as you go down out towards Cottage Grove, we got a little hole in the action there for you. But look at North St. Paul, look at White Bear Lake, and this kind of goes to the story of how one side of Cat Town gets really, really soaked and the other side has a little bit of a break when you're in a metropolis like the Twin Cities there. Big time heavy rain making its way out through parts of Wisconsin, southern Wisconsin. Thunderstorms, Cedar Rapids, severe and strong thunderstorms working the way towards Springfield and Clinton. Those are strong thunderstorms. Joplin, Pittsburgh in Kansas, and we have a tornado warning and severe storms in parts of what looks like Oklahoma here now. So out by Ada, heading towards Ada, we have a tornado warned storm right here, and this one is moving its way out. I got to put this on so I can see. All right, so yeah, this storm is huge, and it's causing, hail up to 3/4 of an inch in diameter and a radar indicated tornado for that storm not far from Sulphur in Oklahoma, south of Shawnee. So those storms are making their way right into the Tulsa area and point south, moving along the I-40 corridor, and the strong thunderstorms go all the way back to Lubbock. So that's what's going on as we go through. Here's the big swirly queue of our storm system, and now you know the rest of the story as my, somebody I enjoyed listening to, Paul Harvey, growing up. And I got to tell you what, the rest of the story here is this is the upper level low. You can see it spinning here. That's going to work its way through here. Very close to the track of that upper level low at 700 millibars is where we're going to see that band of heavy snow setting up. I have yet to see the heavy snow in our area set up like we're seeing it here, but you can certainly see there's a little more moisture to work with on the system on that particular side. There is plenty of moisture in the atmosphere here, though, as we just looked at, and it will be working its way up and through, being lifted up over the top of us, and we shall see how this turns out. But the model consensus is a good one, and we are on our way to some wet and heavy snowfall. 6 to 10 plus inches has been confirmed. Lemon, South Dakota with 13, Bismarck with 6. And as we look down along the South Dakota border, this is where things are really going and adding up right now. As you look in places like Ashley, Wishick, Foreman, all the way out here. If you're in Sargent and Ransom counties or Richland counties, right into the Fargo-Moorhead area, an enhanced area of snow is going to be possible, and there will be pockets that get missed completely. That's the nature of this weather. Hutch is gonna, wow, okay, everybody, thank you for sharing stars. I see that we've got an active star party going, so I do appreciate all of you. Snowing in Ada, thank you, Annette, I appreciate that. And David says, thank you for the information and thank you for the conversation and the stars. I do appreciate it. It'll be fun to see how this goes as we go through the overnight hours. Thank you so very much, Tyler, for sharing stars with Hutch, and to all of you who have supported Hutch over the months and the years. We'll keep you posted on the weather. I do want to let you know, too, that on the website and on the mobile app, we have made pages because you asked, Hutch, get some swag. You can support me that way as well and end up with some pretty cool merch too. So when you head over to my website or on the app, click the Hutch Gear button and you'll see some of the stuff available. And there's even more available on the online shop here because I've got rain gauges as we're getting into the rain season. I know I don't want to get too far ahead of myself, but these are the types of rain gauges we use more professionally in the meteorology field to measure precipitation, liquid precipitation down to the 100th of an inch. You can take the inside tube out, set this outside and let it collect snow, melt it down, and then you get to see exactly how much moisture was in the snow that fell in your area. So these are available online by clicking on these links. I do have that snow brush, and if you happen to be out of snow and you happen to get 6 to 10 plus inches, this one will help you out too. So thanks so very much for your patronage. Thank you for everything, your trust, and I do appreciate it, and I do not wear that badge lightly at all. I do my very best to keep up with you. A lot of designs put together here. You can check them out on my page. And thank you so much for those of you who have ordered and who have sent me stars. Hutch, flurries, okay, and not much in Moorhead, says James. I kind of agree. There's just a little bit of a mist coming down at this time. So for now, I'll keep you posted on the roads, but I think as we go through the overnight hours, we're not going to see a lot of change, but you need to know before you go. You can head to hutchesweather.com, head to my page, look for the road conditions page right at the top of the main page, and you can see the very latest with travel alerts, no travel advisories, and road closures, all of which we have in the region as we head into the overnight hours. Thank you. We'll talk soon.
This has been a Hutch's Weather Update with Chief Meteorologist Hutch Johnson. Follow us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Wait, you forgot the new app. You're right, I did. Don't forget to download our new app. Oh, now let's rock.